Get you the linkaroo so you can share the linkaroo. All right, I think according to all my telemetrars, we are live. Although the preview on the dashboard shows just a black screen, but it does say we're live. So I'm gonna assume that's oh wait, hold no, there we are. All right, I can see us now. Cool. Cool. All right, let me pull up the chat window and dump you the link so you have it. And then I'm going to go get all spammy spam. If you wonderful viewers wouldn't mind going and spamming this out to everybody so we can interrupt their day after Christmas with our wonderful show. Yeah. Tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your dog's breeder, whatever. Let's see here. Okay.
Twitch. I want Twitter.
TikTok starts now. Special super extreme after Christmas edition. Because of clickbait. I literally typed that. I just tweeted out special super after Christmas edition. Oh my God. You got to do what you can. At this age, you got to do everything you can there. Yeah. You got to do everything you can to try to get the word out, you know? Let me go blast this out on my YouTube channel. Wow, Tech Talk has 36,000 posts. Somebody else be using my tag, damn it.
Whoa.
It's okay, though.
The KF console.
Right? Oh, did you see that? That's hilarious, dude. The KFC bucket console.
Like, is that a legit? Is
no,
that gonna be
it's
like
all
a thing
3D
or
rendering, dude? Like, I haven't seen a single like real rendering of it. So
I think Razer actually did make the toaster eventually. Like, it took them a couple years, but I think there is actually like they goofed on it about.
I remember the goof about the toaster. I didn't know they really made it though.
Yeah, I think they actually.
I mean, that's pretty funny if they did. That's legit a good joke. if they actually did.
There's an article from May of last year. Oh, for crying out loud! Fuck you.
But that was for April Fools, right?
It was originally
okay.
Like years and years and years ago. But then it looks like there was an article at least on PC Gamer in May of last year that said the Razer toaster is going to be a real thing. And they're calling it Project Breadwinner.
Like, honestly, though, like, okay, so they made it in real life, but just one, right? This isn't going to be a marketable product, I'm guessing.
I had thought that they were actually going to make a real...
Because if Razer makes a toaster I can actually go and buy, like, my respect level for that company goes through the fucking roof.
Linus has a video, says real working Razer toaster unboxing and demo from August of last year.
What? Okay, I don't believe
2017.
This.
August of 2017. So that's
I know it's old. I just didn't know they made it. Let's see. Okay, could you actually... Okay, wait a second. Hold on. So Variety did actually review a Razer toaster. Okay, hold on. Hold on. Okay, so Project Breadwinner, I found it. It's got underglow lights. You got the pictures, right?
Yeah.
So it's got underglow lights on it, and it's got the Razer logo, and it obviously is super fit and finish and polished.
Yeah.
They fucking made this thing. They did. They absolutely did. Okay, so they didn't make it a purchase though. They just made a prototype and sent it out.
I see.
So you can't buy this thing, but they did set. Well, they either made one and each reviewer got some time with it, or they made a bunch for reviewers.
Just like a handful for reviewing.
Yeah, yeah. And then there's a bunch of goofs where people took like regular toasters and just put the stickers that come in all Razer products like all over them. Yeah. So there's a bunch of like fake ones out there, but no, it looks like there is one real one.
Huh.
I didn't know that. I'm gonna have to go watch that later. I had no idea. That's pretty cool when a joke like that can manifest itself in reality, because that's not cheap, dude. Like, I don't think people realize to make that one toaster probably costs like $10,000.
For what I know of, like, you know, try to get into like custom cases and custom PCBs and stuff.
Yeah,
probably more than that. Actually,
probably,
like one round of like engineering and prototype would probably be like close to 10,000. And then if you really wanted to go full hog and like make your own custom dies and shit and like actually start manufacturing, it gets well over $100,000.
Yeah, well, I know to make one die, just one die for an injection molding system starts at about $10,000.
Yeah.
And you need multiple dies usually to make a product. Unless you're making like a keychain ornament or something like that. Yeah, you're going to need more than one piece. And then for shaping metal, like the sheet, like if you were making a toaster and you wanted to do like the sheet metal, like for a case, the sheet metal bending machines to run those per unit and for the dimensions and stuff, to like do it with automation. Oh my God. I mean, I'd imagine for the one toaster, they probably just did it as a one-off, but still they had to pay some dude to like go and draw that out and cut it out and like bend all those pieces of metal and then go and get them powder coated. Like that's insane money for a toaster, dude. I would like to rip one apart though and see what they based it on. Because they didn't make a custom toasting mechanism. They ripped that out of like some fucking off the shelf Cuisinart.
Maybe because like it is toast like the Razer logo. So like, but I imagine that's something you could DIY fairly straightforward.
Oh, I didn't see that. It actually puts the Razer logo on the bread.
Yeah, but I mean they make toasters that'll do like faces and stuff.
That's
so,
true.
like,
Yeah, because you have to run the filament, right? Like you draw with the filament and then you just get it close to the bread and it basically burns it a little.
Yeah,
dude, that's crazy. Hey, Miss Liz, Merry Christmas to you. And thank you for kicking off our year with a $5 super chat. You are a wonderful, wonderful lady. Yeah, she came in just throwing that stripper money at us. Love it.
It's not even at the top of the chat or nothing. I don't even see it.
Actually, why is it not showing up? It's showing up here. 10:03 a.m. $5 connect stand bucks.
Oh, before we went live.
Oh, that's why it didn't show up. It was before we went live. Well, that's robbery. They should offline things should still show if they're still in cooldown.
Well, you probably can redo the.
I'm going to send a message.
I see it in the event list on the stream. She's there at the top.
Colin said no, Dave. No, Dave had to pull out last minute because he's in a turkey coma and he's spending time with his family.
Which, I mean,
hey,
after Christmas, it's Boxing Day, right? For some of you,
it's like, and I would have totally understood if AuxxZillary didn't want to stream today, but I don't have a life, and without him, he knew that I would have cried and it would have ruined my after Christmas special. So he decided to come on. So, and I appreciate that. Thank you, AuxxZillary.
Yeah. With
the gray beard and everything. I mean, he's going full father time on us, folks.
Oh, I forgot my hat.
Oh, get your hat, bro. Get your hat. Here, I'll get my hat, too.
I forgot my hat.
Here. Let's hat up, bro. We're being festive. Oh, yeah. There we go. Now this is an after Christmas special, my friends. So a bunch of people in chat say I look tired. The reason I look tired is because I broke my fucking foot.
Seriously broken or just damaged? Oh, you killed the audio, bruh.
Oh, what?
Oh, there it is. You muted for half a second. There,
okay. Yeah. All right. So, I need to figure out how to get that stain out. I got some weird stain on my new Under Armour shirt and I don't like it. God damn, I'm fucking rotund, dude. Jesus Christ. I need to lose like a person and a half. I broke my foot. I haven't gone and got the x-rays yet, but the reason I know it's broken is because I can't move my pinky toe at all. The tendon's severed at least. So ouch. Even under massive pain and painkillers, I try to move it, and like you see like the little knuckle at the top twitch a little bit, but no movement in the toe at all. It's like completely done.
Damn.
So what happened was I was building a bed at 2 a.m. in the morning on Christmas Eve, and we're like, well, we need a place to sleep, so we're setting up this bed, and I'm building the frame on the floor, and I'm like half asleep at this point. I'm tired. I've been working the whole day, like steam cleaning and tearing everything out of the bedroom. I did more work on Christmas Eve than I did the entire previous year. So I'm dying, man. I'm like just jacked up on stims and amphetamines and popping oxys and eating Tylenols. Man. Dude, because I had to get it done. It was one of those things where it's like I could not let myself down. But then what happened is I was walking and I think I got it on video. I gotta go back and check the video, but I had video running of me doing this. And I go to climb over the frame, and I completely misjudge it. It's an iron frame for the bed.
Oh, no.
I completely misjudge it, and I just totally soccer kick the bed, and I catch it with my pinky toe.
Oh, fuck.
And it just folds the sumbitch down along the bottom of my foot, and I just feel it go pop.
Jeez,
and I'm like,
man.
I thought I stubbed it, dude. I was like, I kicked it, and it just got really hot really quick, and I was like, fuck. And I'm like, oh my God, don't wake up Xander. And I'm like, okay, come on. And I tried to shake it off. You know how you do, like you stub your toe. You're like, oh, come on. The pain will go away, and the pain started getting worse and worse and worse. And I looked at it, and I'm like, it doesn't look too bad, but then I look at it compared to the other foot, and it's like my pinky toe is like this. So I'm like, yeah, that's kind of fuckered up. And luckily, nothing's turned black or blue yet. My whole foot's purple. Like the whole foot changed, and it swelled up. I can't get a sock on it. But it just looks like whatever it was a clean break. Like I think it was a tendon more than likely. I think I popped a tendon is what happened. Yeah. But it's super painful to touch, dude. Like I can't even put a sock on that foot. That's why I have an ace bandage on it, because it's I tried to put a sock on it this morning. Just touching it, like even just air blowing over it is just the most annoying shit ever. So like sleeping, I gotta have a foot outside of the blanket. Then every time I brush the blanket, it wakes me back up. But on a good note, though, the bed that we got is fucking awesome. Like, oh my God. Like, aside from having a broken foot, the sleep that I have got on it, my back feels so much better. Like both. Yeah. So I slept on it 2 nights now, and when I wake up, I can actually get up out of bed. Other than the foot, like I can stand up and my back isn't all cripped up. So in my old bed, just, oh my God, dude, when I woke up in the morning, I was stiff like I had rigor mortis and I couldn't fucking move. So, yeah. So beds make a big difference, folks. Beds make a huge fucking difference. I'll tell you what, though. So the bed I got, a lot of people want to know about that bed. So I got a bed from a company called Big Fig Mattress. Okay. And so I was Big Fig, like big figure. They're basically beds designed for fat asses like me. So when I was doing research for beds, I was like, after the Sleep Number debacle, like I won't go into that like super long term, but Sleep Number is like the most technologically advanced bed on the market, which sucked me in with their bullshit marketing. It's basically, it's a Coleman Air mattress with an Arduino and an aquarium pump that costs $10,000. And it breaks and it leaks and they're soft in the center, just like an air mattress, and you sink in the center, and even when you pump them up to 100%, they're still they're not firm at all. Like even at 100% compared to the bed that I just got, like the bed that I got right now is like a concrete slab with like an inch of pillow on top of it. Like it is the firmest bed I've ever owned in my life. And I thought that I wouldn't like that, but no. Oh my God, do I welcome that firm bed. Like, oh my gosh, if you are a big person, you need a firm bed. Do not be sleeping on some flippity floppity bed because it feels like you're rolling around in quicksand all night. Like you literally get exhausted just rolling around and repositioning. Like with this bed, it's like now I can move around and plus it's lower to the ground. The other bed was like fucking 15 feet off the ground for some reason. Probably because of all the electronics and shit that were under it. But no, dude, it's just get a regular bed, guys. Like the Sleep Number thing, worst 3 years of my life. I get this bed, I sleep on. Even Miss Barnacules, she got up and she's like, it's going to take some getting used to because she was the one that we got a Sleep Number and she basically just puts it at 0 and just sleeps on the foam like a hammock. She loved it. She loved it. I hated it. She loved it. But she'd always wake up with a really sore back and she'd have to stretch her back out. And I'd have to, and she's gotten up twice now out of this new bed and she just stands right up and she's like, oh man, my back feels good. Like, wow. Awesome. So if it's fixing back problems. So I think that this bed might actually be more of a savior than I thought it would be. But the company anyways, I just reached out to them because I did a bunch of research. I did research on Casper, Purple, Sealy, the Tempur-Pedic, and I went through and I was looking at all these different beds because I was ready to just buy another one, right? I can't really afford it, but I'm like, fuck it, it's a bed. You can't skimp on a bed. I learned my lesson 3 years ago. Never gonna happen again. So a couple of my followers sent me messages, some of my big followers, because I'm a big boy, so I attract some big followers. And so a couple dudes sent me messages and emails, and one on Patreon, and said, hey, have you checked out this company called Big Fig? I've had their mattress for like 2 years. I'm like, I've never heard of this fucking company. They're like, I've had their mattress for 2 years and I absolutely love it. They're like, it's super firm, but it's like really comfortable. And I'm like, okay, I'll go check them out. So I went and checked them out, and it turns out that they're actually a pretty well-reviewed company. They're a smaller company. Their shit's made here in the USA in Chicago. Like the bed frame is literally cut from wood and assembled here in the USA from like a wood from the USA, which is like, I think the frame is honestly, they still says made in the USA, but I think the frame materials probably came from China. But the mattress itself and the base is made here in the USA, which honestly, like I can't think of anything that's made here anymore. So I thought that was kind of cool. And you assemble it. It shows up in a box, like, those, memory foam mattresses. Yeah. It just shows up in a roll that's probably like, 180, 200 pounds. It's about this big around. Yeah. And, it was a California King, dude. We got video of it. It's funny. Have you ever seen that video where the lady opens the mattress and it like shoots her against the wall? Because it expands too fast. Well, this I forgot that this mattress it's hybrid. It's got springs in it. And it's got 2 times as many springs as a regular mattress because it's designed for big fatties like me, so that the springs don't cave in. So I cut the plastic wrong. You're supposed to cut one layer and then roll it out and then cut the other layer and then it expands upward. I accidentally cut through both layers at once and the whole thing just goes boom and just blows up like a giant thing. Luckily, it missed Miss Barnacules, but it shoved me back about 2 feet. And I think I caught this all on camera. I haven't gone back and checked the footage because it was 2 a.m. and I was just recording B-roll, right? I wasn't even commentating. Because I will be doing a video eventually, but man, I cannot believe how fast this fucking thing expanded. It was like 1 second. It went from like a roll sitting in the middle of the bed frame to just a giant California King mattress, like shoving us out to the edges of the room.
Man, that's like, cool though.
It was pretty cool. It makes it, I don't know how they do it because it has metal springs in it. It's like, how do you compress something like that thin and roll it up and not damage the springs?
I imagine in part you have to flatten it first. Like you got to compress the springs like vertically first.
So like put it in a press and then like in a vacuum bag, crunch it down and suck the air out.
It's probably a combination. So they put the whole mattress into the bag first, right? Like puffed up. And then, so like I feel like it couldn't just be like a vacuum, just straight up, because that might like crinkle the corners or whatever. So I feel like they'd have to smush it first.
Right.
And then, with the bag opening and then suck out all the air they could.
So the mattress goes into a giant
and then it
press,
becomes like
crunches it down, and then it sucks the air out to hold it.
Rolling it up is no big deal because the springs are fine. The spring steel will come back.
Dude, it's wild though, because it's a hybrid mattress. It's like half the width of the mattress, or a little over half the width of the mattress is coil springs, and then the rest of it's the foam. So I was surprised when it showed up in a box. I was like, I've never heard of a coil spring mattress being shipped like this. And you can tell there's coils in it because when you flip it over and it fully expands, you can see where the coils are. They have metal tabs on the bottom of the mattress that are like seating them to the internal wire mesh frame, that holds all the coils together. You can actually see that like on the bottom of the mattress. So I was like, holy shit, how do they do this, man? It's freaking crazy. So anyways, we got the bed set up, and it was really easy to assemble. It had some damaged parts though, but it was nothing that I couldn't fix. Like the wood was split in one spot where you can see FedEx just like went John Cena on the box. Like when they unloaded the box, all the boxes were open. I was like, FedEx, why are you delivering me a bunch of open boxes? They're like, oh, big heavy items like this throughout shipment get, the boxes get, crumpled around and stuff gets open. So one of the pieces of wood inside was split. So I just used some 5-minute epoxy because I was like, I'm not going to wait for a whole new frame to ship and put it back together when I can actually make it stronger than it was originally. So I 5-minute epoxied that together. And then one of the feet on the bed, they have like a plastic foot on them. And one of the feet was like cracked. But it's like, who cares? Because it was cracked in a place where it was cosmetic. I could just stick it in the middle of the bed where nobody'd see it. But once I put it all together, and the mattress was flawless, but once I put it all together, I noticed a few things about it that I sure have missed with my sleep number. Number one is it doesn't push away from the wall. Like the sleep number, every night that I sleep, like I wake up and all my pillows are stuck between the wall and the bed because the mattress will work its way down. On the base, and the pillows get jammed behind. This thing doesn't go anywhere, man. The mattress is so fucking heavy and so dense that we've slept in it 2 nights now and it's still touching the wall. So I'm like, rock on. I'm not going to lose my pillows no more. The other thing is we end up getting a California King, which I've never had before. I've never had a California King. And it's like 4 more inches. It doesn't sound like a lot, ladies, but 4 inches is a lot. I mean, ask Ron Jeremy versus your average guy, right?
Hey.
So 4 inches is a lot. So now when I lay on the bed, the cats can actually jump up on the foot of the bed without having to lay on me. Like the cats actually, because they hate it, because I fidget around a bunch. So they'll jump up and lay down, they get comfortable, and then I fidget, and then they get pissed and look at me all, with the stink eye, and then they run off. And so now the cats can stay at the bottom of the bed, which I think is pretty cool. And aside from that, just it being so firm, like the first night I slept on it, I was like, oh my God, dude, this is really firm. But even after the first night sleeping on it, it already kind of softened up a little bit, but it stayed like the foam on top softened up, but the springs didn't. So it's still super supportive, but I was like, yeah, hell yeah. So I think this bed's going to work out awesome. I will be doing a review of it. I told the company if they sent it to me, I'd review it. I told them no contracts, no marketing bullshit. I told them I do what I want, and they were cool with that. Like that, I literally laid that down. I said, hey, I'm looking for a mattress. You guys are what I'm thinking about trying. If you send me one, I'd be happy to do a review. If you don't, I'm going to buy it anyways. So that's literally what I told them in the email, and they emailed me back and they said, oh yeah, no, this is absolutely fantastic. We'd love to help you out and send you a bed. I'm like, cool. All right.
No shit.
Yeah, they sent it. It took like 4 days to get here from the time they said, yeah. I was like, it was like really easy. Like I was pretty surprised, and it showed up in small box. I cannot believe the big bed that came out of these boxes though. I know, right? I am so shocked by packing technology. Like it's a box that's about, I don't know, probably like, I don't know, 2 feet by like 4 feet. And that's the mattress. The California King mattress somehow fits in that box. And then the bed frame, which is a solid cedar bed frame. So this is think of a bed frame that's like this thick, and it's like as big as the mattress. Yeah. And it's all wood. It's all cedar. And they flat pack that some bitch like IKEA into a box that's tiny. Like this box is not big. And when you're done building it, you have this giant freaking wooden like frame with slats along the top of it. Holy shit, did we just get some Danish kroners?
I think that's
did we just get 100 DKKs? SB said 1 loose pound. You should try keto. It works fast. I lost 46 in over 25 weeks. I lost 46 pounds in 3 months doing keto. And then we found out that keto destroyed all my joints, made my uric acid go through the level, and then I was forced off of keto, and it did some somewhat permanent damage to my joints. And I mean, I'm not saying this will happen for you, but for me, it caused a uric acid spike because I have gout, and the doctor didn't take that into consideration when he put me on keto. But yeah, well, the 3 months I was on it, I lost 46 pounds, and it's a very effective diet at losing weight. Like, keto is massively effective, but just consult with a doctor and make sure that you check your uric acid levels, because
It's important.
you'll form uric acid crystals in your joints like I did, and it becomes pretty damn painful pretty damn fast, and unfortunately your joints don't heal as fast as they used to when you're as old as I am. So Miss Liz said, how much did the new bed cost? I think that the configuration that they sent me with the box spring and everything's like $2,200 or $2,300. So somewhere in there, I think think about $2,000 to $2,500, which is pretty, like, you actually pay quite a bit more than that for like a full memory foam mattress. Yeah. And a lot of those don't even come with a base. They just sit like directly on the frame. So I kind of like the idea of having a box spring again. It's like, and especially a wooden one, because one, it made the whole room smell like cedar. Oh, and they don't smell like ass. That's the other thing, is I was fully expecting to unpackage this mattress and have it smell like, if you've ever owned a memory foam mattress, you unpack them and they smell like ass for like 3 weeks. Like, you have to vent the window. You get used to the smell, but it gives you a headache. And I was like, shit, and it happened with the Sleep Number too. Even when they came and built the Sleep Number bed, they're like, oh yeah, it's going to have a strong smell for a couple of days. They don't tell you that when you're buying it, but when they're installing it, they're like, yeah, it's going to smell like a fucking above ground pool for a couple of days. This one I opened up, there's no smell. The mattress, like, I don't know if they like off gas it or if they fumigate it before they package it, but no, absolutely no smell from the moment we unpacked it. So the room smells like cedar. It smells like the wood that the base was made out of, which is pretty cool. But yeah, so if you're sensitive to smell, it was good for that. They have a bunch of, I think they have more than the one mattress too. I think that they do one, I think they do a firm one, and then they do one that's like not quite as firm.
Nice.
And I think they also have one that's a hybrid and one that isn't, if I remember right, looking at their website. So it just depends on what you want. But for me, I went for the hybrid because I was like, I am a big boy. I am 360 pounds right now. I don't like being 360 pounds, but I am, and I still need to sleep. And so having that support was everything, dude. Being a side sleeper like me, oh my God, like last night, for instance, I wake up usually 4 times during the night to go take a piss. I woke up 0 times in 7 hours. That never happens. That's like a 1 or twice a year occurrence. Nice. And I slept through the night with a broken ass foot. So I'm pretty happy with those results. So how was your Christmas there, Mr. AuxxZillary?
Oh, it was pretty good, actually. Yeah, I got a new shirt. Part of my gift was this shirt.
Will cheat for chicken wings.
like on my diet, not on my lady.
I know, but it's still funny when you read the first part, because it's like some dude flexes like, I'll cheat, and then you got to read the chicken wings part. Make sure that however you're sitting, you're not including the chicken wings part, because people can take that out of context.
But no, and then I guess it was fun, good holiday. Had a great time. Went over to my lady's place. So we have to do Christmas on Christmas Eve because of the way the deal is with ex-husband and stuff.
Okay, gotcha.
Because of girls and stuff. But so we did it on Christmas Eve. Went to my lady's mom's place, her parents' place, and all the family there, and played games and ate food and all that good stuff. I am the reigning Christmas champion for this year because I won like all the games. So that's pretty cool.
How much did you have to cheat?
Not at all. I don't cheat. I'm just that good.
Sounds like something a cheater would say.
Yeah. So I'm sure that's what my lady would say too, because she's super, super competitive. She hates it when she doesn't win.
Dude, I'll never play Monopoly again because my friend Greg cheated one time when we played, and he cheated so horribly, and I couldn't catch onto it. And afterwards, I was so humiliated. I was like, I will never play Monopoly again. You've literally ruined one of the best games ever made for me in all time.
For me, I'm not that invested in winning. Like, it's just a game, right? There's no stakes. It'd be different if there was like money on the line, or I suppose a genuine like prestige or something to be had. But just games among folk, like, it's fine. Like, whatever. I don't care if I win. I mean, I'm still in it to win, but if I lose, it's not the end of the world. Yeah.
I got you. Hey, Pinking, thank you for that $5 super chat. He said, The wallet I use is fully mined and manufactured in the U.S. and I love it. Travax is the company. I've never heard of them.
A wallet that is mined?
Mined. How do you mine a wallet? Like, are you just talking about sourced? Like the materials are sourced, or do they actually take a pickaxe out there? Is your wallet made out of precious metals?
The Travax wallet, durable, slim metal wallets.
Oh
and
shit!
outdoor
It is.
gear.
Okay, never mind. So that was an accurate use of the word.
It is wallet. Yeah,
it literally is mined. Okay,
these are hefty looking things, man. You can kill a guy with this thing.
I have a question. Oh, dude, actually, I have a YouTube video that I want to do with Adam. And Hobbs. And what I want to do is I want to take the metal credit cards, like the Apple credit card and like the Amex Black, and I want card. Yeah, and I want to see if it's possible to take a sharpening stone and sharpen the edge to like a razor blade like finish, because it's a credit card, right? You got like a 2.5 inch length, right, or 3 inch length.
Sure.
See if you could sharpen that down to like a razor blade and use it as like a weapon or a survival tool. Because you can take those on airplanes. Airplanes let you take a titanium credit card that is the thickness of a pocket blade. If you could just get something rough and edge that thing out, like while you're just like flying along on your airplane, you could have a giant freaking edged weapon.
I feel like razor sharp might be difficult, but definitely
it's titanium and aluminum. Sharp. Like, I think you could put a razor's edge on that. It might not last long. I'm not going to say it's going to hold an edge for a long period of time, but I'm thinking with the titanium, because I've seen titanium knives. I know they exist.
I definitely think you could get a cutting edge on there for sure. For sure. So I feel suspicious that it could be sharp enough to like shave, real good, but definitely pass the paper test.
Yeah, no, I think it would pass the paper test. Now I don't think it would hold an edge for a prolonged period of time, but again, it doesn't need to, right? I mean, if you can create a weapon for, doing any number of bad things. I'm just trying to think of like the thing, because it kind of put the thought in my head. I was playing around with it because I'm weird like that. I'm playing around with this credit card and I'm banging it on the surface. It's like ting, 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 ting. And I'm like, this is properly heavy metal. Like, it doesn't bend easily. Yeah. It is a gnarly, strong card. Like, it's tempered like crazy too.
Yeah.
And I'm like, they let you bring those. Nobody bats an eye at that. Like, if you go on an airplane, like if you have one of those, what do they call them? Those little wallet inserts that have like a survival knife and survival saw and stuff.
Yeah.
Those get taken away and thrown in the garbage if you try to take those through the airport. They identify those immediately through the backscatter. That's funny. Credit cards, anything that's credit card, no, they don't. A metal credit card is like considered completely fine. So I was like, you could totally take that on a plane and like pack a whetstone or something like that, and then just sit there and while you're waiting for your drink or whatever, just sit there and file away at that bad boy, and under your coat. Next thing you know, you got a freaking razor blade. Dang. They could like cut wiring harnesses and stuff. It's just a weird thought that there's certain things that the TSA just like let through that there's like,
man,
you
the
can do
whole
stuff
thing's
with.
a joke.
It is. It's all security theater. It's literally meant and designed just to make you feel better, because you're like, wow, they're being really serious about, and to deter people, right? Because if you see a bunch of people like patting you down and putting you through machines, you're less likely to carry a block of C4 onto the airplane. But it doesn't seem like it really stops much, honestly, when you do research.
Yeah. No, the testing they do every time is like 95% fails. I remember watching a video years ago.
They found bomb residue on my hands. I've never worked with bomb residue.
Well, no, but you've probably fiddled with chemicals that might, that could be used that way. It doesn't matter though. You can buy all the stuff you need to make a bomb after you're through security. Like
that is true.
The big shop that has like all the books and candies and shit like that.
Yeah.
If any sort of small aerosol spray can and like a laptop battery, and if you're motivated enough, there's endless possibilities. Like,
that
you
is
can't
true.
stop somebody who's properly motivated to do nefarious acts.
Yeah, it's like what's the saying? Like, once the genie's out of the bottle, you can't put him back in. It's like, that's knowledge, right? Once you know how to do something, there's really not a lot you can do to stop it. Like, dude, did you hear the news yesterday? The freaking explosion that happened in God, where was that? Was it like Pennsylvania or something? Where is it? Here, let's see here.
Shit.
No, so there was a RV that blew up yesterday in Nashville. It was in Nashville, Tennessee. And there was an RV there, and apparently like 15 minutes before it blew up, it like called out or something and basically said that it was going to blow up, or they called and said that there was like a shooting. The details are still coming out on it, but anyways, it basically announced something, but like before it blew up, it announced something.
Oh shit!
But the explosion that went off was like way bigger than anything they've ever seen from a vehicle that size before. Like literally, it damaged 20 buildings. It completely like destroyed a city block, basically. And they're trying, and they don't even know the motive yet. Like nobody's claimed it. It doesn't appear to be a terrorist attack. It's just like somebody just pulled up an RV in front of the AT&T building and then announced some stuff and then just exploded it. And they don't know if the person was in it or not. They're like still, because I mean, it was such a big explosion. They can't even figure out if there's remains. So they really don't know what's going on, but they said the explosion is like, they can't even think of what, like an ammonium nitrate bomb of that size shouldn't have generated a detonation that big.
Right.
So they're trying to figure out what in the hell the compounds were that were used, because like, how did somebody build a bomb? Because they classified it as a weapon of mass destruction. That's how big the blast yield was.
Dang.
So, but again, they don't know the motive, and it looks like only 3 people were injured and nobody died, because like, as soon as the van announced that it was going to explode or whatever, they cleared everybody out, right?
What?
But like, I'm just like, how the hell did somebody like just build something that had that big of a blast yield with, you know, and we're probably not going to know for a while, right? Because I mean, it's vaporized. Like you can't even tell that there was an RV ever there. I mean, there's not even a piece of it left. It's literally vaporized. They have some videos from some of the security cams of the explosion, but again, it's such a violent and fast explosion, you can't really see anything. It's just like, you know, flash and then just, you know, everything's on fire.
Jeez.
But no, it was a massive, massive explosion. I remember seeing this as the story was breaking yesterday. I popped it up on the news and I was like, holy shit, are we under like terrorist attack again? But again, nobody's claimed responsibility. Nobody knows who it was. Nobody knows the motive. They have pictures of the RV before it blew up because people took pictures of it because they thought it was suspicious.
Sure.
But, you know, just miraculously, nobody died. And if you see the explosion, like if you're looking at it right now and you're looking up, I mean, it is massive, dude. It literally damaged, like physically damaged 20 buildings in an entire city block. From an explosion that didn't even originate in the building. Like if an explosion happens in a building, it's you know, the pressure wave basically causes it destroyed. Kind of like the federal building or whatever that Timothy McKay took down or whatever. The Unabomber. But like to have a bomb do that much damage just in open air, like just being out on the street like that. Holy crap. It's like, so we'll have to wait for the forensics to see what actually happened.
Right, that's nuts.
The explosion disrupted communications for a while. See, that could be an interesting, because it was in front of an AT&T building. So it is possible that AT&T was the target.
Right, for sure.
Like maybe the purpose of it was to disrupt some communications. Maybe it's not being claimed because the terrorists, this is just phase 1 of their plan, you know? But it could have also just been some hugely deranged guy that's just, you know, off his rocker because of 2020 and decided to go blow some shit up. But whatever it was, he announced that the van, or sorry, the RV in some way or another announced it was going to explode and gave some time. So it's clear that what's that?
You can tell from that it wasn't about hurting people. Like they meant to do property damage.
They were trying to take out the AT&T building, probably.
Yeah, because it does say just, I don't know what the key is on this particular image, but I guess next to where the thing blew up is an AT&T transmission building. Yeah. And so by announcing, hey, this shit's going to explode in 15 minutes, they definitely were trying not to kill people. They were trying to do property damage.
Yeah, it sounds to me like
for them.
In like 15 minutes, like as far as terrorists go, yeah, it's like, you know, thanks for not killing people. Like property can be replaced, people can't. Oh, that's actually another theory. You're right. All you need. He said it also may have been intended to kill cops because the announcement that was made was an active shooter situation, which they thought would draw on police and law enforcement.
Sure.
So, but the announcement, I guess, was only like 15 minutes before it blew up. So they were either allowing 15 minutes to get maximum casualties in range and it backfired on them, or they didn't think that in 15 minutes that even the bomb squad could do anything about it. Like, which realistically they couldn't, right? With all the protocols and stuff they have, I don't think the bomb squad would like shown up and been able to disarm it. And glad they didn't try, because there's no bomb suit that would have protected against that. Like,
yeah, that's intense.
Oh, dude, it's so freaking. In a way, I'm kind of glad that they didn't release a video, like somebody wasn't just recording and caught the explosion, because it had to have been devastating to do that amount of damage. I mean, every car down the block for a whole city block is just burning to the metal frame. Like, it's wild. But again, I guess you could call it, you know, a Christmas miracle, if you will, that only 3 people got hurt. and there may be a casualty. They said that there's evidence that there may be remains at the
in
RV.
the RV or something.
So it's possible that the person that blew up the RV actually did it in person. They may have actually made the call from the RV and actually detonated it on their own. And then who knows? In that case, it may just be like, you know, a suicide on just some grandiose level. You know, but it's just crazy. It's
definitely a statement. Like, you don't do something like that telling people to go away on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Like this is, and somebody, I'm sure there's going to be some claim or something happen.
Yeah, there'll be a note somewhere. They'll figure out who did it or who the RV was registered to and trace it back to a note.
Yeah.
Because somebody wouldn't do something like that without having some kind of thing left behind. I mean,
right?
I'm not going to say it's impossible.
I wonder if there's like a jewelry heist nearby. Like, maybe this was all just a distraction?
Oh, it's like some GTA kind of 5. Like you blow something up to get all the cops to go to one place, and then you go to the other place and rob it.
Right? There's probably a bank missing something, or like Nazi diamonds missing somewhere, you know?
Oh man, the plot thickens. The interesting thing is, though, is like they chose Christmas Day. Did they choose Christmas Day because it's some kind of a religious thing, or did they choose Christmas Day because they thought that would be the day when nobody would be out on the street, like everybody be home?
Yeah, probably just to not kill anybody. The building, the AT&T transmission building, was probably empty. The buildings around were probably closed and empty. I feel like, again, this is more of a statement.
Yeah.
This isn't. They weren't trying to hurt people, because they could have done. With something this crazy, this big, like they could have hurt a lot more people if that was their intent, and they did not. And so, like, that was definitely part of the plan, was to not hurt people.
Yeah, because if you wanted to kill people, you wouldn't say anything. You'd want, if anything, you'd want to like put like free candy at noon or something on the side of the bus and draw people in. And so, you know, you make a good point. It sounds to me like whatever their goal was, it probably involved the AT&T building, because that was the principal infrastructure where it went off.
I think so.
It was Christmas Day, so the least likely day for people to be on the street and be walking around and doing stuff, right? They're all going to be home with their kids. Stuff happened in the morning, so they're all going to be like home with their kids and doing stuff. And they announced before they blew up, so it sounds to me like you're right, that they just wanted to clear people out. But it's just weird that there's like they didn't call ahead, they didn't make a call before they blew it up and like say what their demands were or what they were trying to do. Yeah. It's just kind of freaky to see an explosion of that scale. And, you know, and they said it is intentional. Like, they didn't know at first. They were like, I don't know, maybe it was like a meth lab or something that blew up in this thing. But it's like, no, this was absolutely intentional. They just don't know why. And I think that's kind of the freaky thing about it, is it's like, what is the motivate? And there's no clear motivation. It's like, you'd think they'd leave a calling card, or they'd leave something that's like a part of the plan
or something. Yeah.
It's so yeah. This was a little scary to wake up to yesterday. So even though some people are saying, oh, don't jump to the conclusion it's a terrorist attack, it's like, I mean, it is a terrorist attack. It's like it's terrorizing people whether they died or not. Yeah, it's like a giant explosion on Christmas Day in the middle of a city. It's like,
it may not be politically motivated, but it is still a terror.
It still is a terror attack. Yeah. It was designed to scare people, obviously.
Right.
So
I see people saying, "Oh, it's like maybe it was Verizon."
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
This isn't a Breaking Bad thing. Although the people responsible maybe watch the show. Some people with psychotic issues take inspiration. Oh yeah, no doubt. Yeah. Like what do they say? Movies don't make murderers. Movies make murderers more creative.
Yeah. Here's the thing. Like I've always said, is that people. You have to be in a certain mind state to be able to kill another human being. Nothing you watch on TV or nothing you play in a video game is going to make you any more or less likely to kill somebody. However, if you're the psychopathic type that is willing to do that, you'll take inspiration from anything you see in your life.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you see a cat taking a shit and, you know, a gorilla stomps on it, you're going to be like, that was an interesting way to go about that. You know, it's like the psychotic mind, unfortunately, is going to go where it goes. But I like your theory though, that there's a bank heist going on somewhere else, because it's like, that's the classic, right? Like even the video games, I even think one or two of the missions in GTA 5 are predicated on getting the police to go to a different location.
Yeah, I think so that's
so
definitely early on for sure.
Yeah, so that actually and in that case you wouldn't want to tell them that was the goal. You'd want to leave them thinking and keep all the resources they're investigating while you're off, like, you know, stealing the Hope Diamond.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, how the hell did they? What I'm waiting for is for them to do the forensic analysis and see what explosive was used.
Yeah,
because they don't know yet, right? But they do know that it's insanely high yield. So this obviously isn't something that some dude just like. It's not like a bunch of tanks of diesel and ammonium nitrate. It's like this is a
Right.
much bigger blast than that. So it may be possible that whoever did it got a hold of like military grade explosives or something that they would use for like leveling a quarry. Which is like how did they even get a hold of that much of the shit, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hans Gruber did it.
Hans Gruber. Yeah,
get it because it's Die Hard and Christmas. It was Hans Gruber, man, getting his revenge. Oh God, wouldn't that be terrible if it was somebody who came forward and they were just like a Die Hard fan that was like suicidal and they're like, I am Hans Gruber. They couldn't find a building that they could drive up in an RV like that. They kept getting stopped, so they're like, whatever, we'll just blow it up in the street. But nobody died, so that's an amazing thing. That's a Christmas miracle if one has ever existed, my friends. Let's see, what do we got here? Geek Moto, thank you for the $5 super chat. He said, hey, Barnacules, how was your Christmas? I mean, other than breaking my foot at 2 a.m. into Christmas, it was pretty good. It was pretty good. Unfortunately, because my foot was so broke up, I didn't get any sleep that night, so I was like a zombie throughout the day. But my son had the greatest Christmas ever, and that's all that matters to me. Like, honestly, like I didn't open any, like I still have presents that I haven't opened. Like yesterday, I was in so much pain that once we took care of Xander, I just went back to bed and tried to sleep a couple hours at a time. So most of my Christmas was sleeping. But we did wake up and we had dinner together and we watched Wonder Woman 84, which actually was pretty good. I enjoyed it.
I'm kind of halfway about it. Honestly, I felt like it drug a little bit.
It definitely had that Superman versus Batman v Superman kind of slow vibe, like slow burn.
But I don't know. Overall, it was okay.
I think it should have been cut down to maybe an hour and 45 minutes. I think it would have been a much better movie. I think they left in too much, like you said, that just drug on, didn't really add to the story. Yeah,
and it was, I don't know. It seemed, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I'm just getting burnt out or like, I don't know. It didn't.
You're sexist. You're a misogynistic pig. No, I'm just kidding.
Loved the first Wonder Woman. It is by far the best of the recent DC Marvel, 100% DC agree. Universe movies, hands down.
Yeah.
This one though, it just seemed a little formulaic, I guess, cliche. Like
I think it was supposed to be though, right? Like I think that the inspiration was like old Superman, like 80s Superman, right? Like her old outfit that looked like the old one, the whole invisible jet gag. It's like, it was supposed to be like kind of campy.
Okay, because like, man, you have this rock that's gonna grant a bunch of wishes. Obviously, the first time she touches
spoilers.
The thing, she wished her.
Spoilers.
Oh, my bad. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. We just have to say spoilers. Spoilers. Okay, they know now.
Sorry, but like the whole plot line seemed very obvious. You know, she touches the thing, the wind blows. It's like, oh, what did she wish for? Duh, of course.
Yeah.
And then like, of course, she's gonna have the logical progression of the movie was clear from the beginning. You know, her nerdy friend, all that stuff. Like, I'm trying to avoid major plot points and stuff, but it's like, it's obvious.
It's very formulaic,
And that for me, that ruined it. Like, if I can guess that, I'm pretty good at guessing what's going to happen in a movie. I've seen enough movies. I have that kind of mindset to where I can put things together in their logical flow. But I still suspend my disbelief enough to enjoy the story. And this one, I didn't enjoy the story as much. It was not a well told story. It was very predictable, and there was a lot of foreshadowing, and it definitely isn't a movie that you'd enjoy, like you said, if you don't like knowing what's going to happen next. Like the movie pretty much just leads you by the hand, and it's like literally a duplicate of every movie from the 80s and like 90s, every action film. So and I felt like they even did it like in a really campy way, like the way she was sliding around and the way that she was moving and stuff. It looked like they were intentionally trying to do the effects to make them not look like pristine. Like they wanted them to look like you were making an 80s movie. Okay.
You know, like at least that's, I mean, if they were intending to try to make it look like absolutely flawless, they fucked up royally, but.
Yeah. Cause there were a lot of those like floaty jumps, you know, where like you can tell that they're coming in for a landing.
Exactly. You know, and like so much.
Yeah.
There's a lot of incontinuity too. Like with like, she had certain abilities when she shouldn't have,
Oh,
and it was all over the place that way. Like I was even kind of having it hard to follow. Like when she's not supposed to have certain powers, she has them, and then when she's supposed to have them, she doesn't. And now suddenly she flies like Superman and shit, but then she needs the lasso and falls and almost fucking kills like a bunch of kids. Like,
right?
But she can fly. Like it's really confusing, and it's all over the place in that respect. But I actually did like it because for me, it reminded me of like an old 80s Superman movie.
I can dig that.
Like the vibe with it, like the costumes, the way people were talking, the way that they were acting, the whole evil plot unfolding, you know. And I did like the whole idea. I loved Pedro Pascal. I thought he made a great villain.
Oh, sure, for sure.
He, oh my god, the guy that plays Mandalorian, right?
Didn't recognize him. Yeah, if
you wouldn't. If they showed his face twice?
His name in there. Yeah, well, there's that. But also, like I've seen like on red carpets and stuff. I've seen the actor, and I would not have put those together if I hadn't recognized the name.
Yeah, he does. He has a fantastic performance, and the thing that I liked about his character, I liked him more than anybody else in the movie. Like the reason that I liked him as a villain is he starts out as somebody who's like a bad person, but you can tell he doesn't want to be bad. You can tell that he's just a dude that just wants to succeed and he wants to make his kid happy, right? Like his kid's his world, right? And then you just watch that just fucking snowball.
Like you twisted and
like good intentions just turned horribly. It's one of those movies, right? It's like good intentions turned horribly fucking bad.
I still recommend it to anybody who wants to watch it, but yeah.
If you didn't like Batman versus Superman, you're probably this is the same slow burn kind of film.
Hey, where's the Snyder cut of Justice League? I want to see that,
man.
I know that it's a thing. Like somebody was supposed to be releasing it, like on HBO or something.
That's what I heard, but I always thought that was more them just bitching and calling for it, but it never was going to happen.
No. It is actually a thing now, and yeah, it's going to come out on HBO Max. It looks like. You
know what else I want to see is I want to see the the original master of Suicide Squad.
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Suicide Squad was the most butchered movie. Everybody that got interviewed on it said that it was the most butchered movie that has ever fucking been made, where it is nowhere even close to what it was supposed to be in the final edit. Because I can't remember what the reasoning was. Maybe there was like some terrorist attacks or something like that. But for some reason at the time, they had a cut of that movie that had shitloads of Jared Leto in it as Joker, as the psychotic Joker. And then they like got him down to like 2 scenes in the final cut. And the entire like main storyline of the movie is like completely molested and ripped up because they pulled out like 80% of the original footage that was supposed to go in. So, and even Will Smith was like, yeah, this is not the movie we shot. Like, this is like, they completely changed everything in editing. So I want to see the original Suicide Squad, because that movie just got so random and made no fucking sense when it came out. And I was like, there's no way that it got fucked up this bad unless it was just a last minute call to like re-edit it for some weird, political reason or something like that. I want to see the original now.
Wow.
So that'd be a big one. And Zach, did Zack Snyder do Suicide? Who did Suicide Squad? Do you know? Was that a Zack Snyder? I don't know. Let's see here. Who directed Suicide Squad? Oh no, that's David Ayer. Let's see. But I want to. Did you hear Jared Leto said he wouldn't even? At one point, he said he wouldn't even come back and reprise his role because he was so pissed off at how much of his performance they cut out of Suicide Squad.
Yeah,
because he was supposed to be in it a ton, dude. Like, well, you saw the trailer, right? So the trailer for Suicide Squad was like 80% Jared Leto Joker.
Yeah,
and then you watch the movie, and it's like he shows up like twice. He's like in the nightclub shot and like flying in the helicopter shot,
or like a driving,
or like he's like driving. It's like these little superficial shots where he really doesn't do anything. They just make him out. All he's there to do is to make Harley Quinn look like more badass and crazy. That's all his. And he said that that's not what he signed up for. He said when he shot the movie and the shots that they did and the scenes that they did was to really show just how fucking dark, like how dark and sick and disgusting he was. Good. And he was like sad they pulled it.
I feel like the standalone Harley one wasn't that good either.
Birds of Prey was terrible.
Super disappointed.
I did not like Birds of Prey.
I thought it was going to be like an ensemble kind of thing where all like through the whole movie, all those ladies were going to be together fighting like the bad guys, and it wasn't until like the last 20 minutes or whatever. Like that sucked. I was
and then like one of them only got like minimal screen time. I can't remember.
It's bullshit. The hunter gal was like barely there. I don't know the whole thing.
Yeah, you know what? I didn't even make it all the way
fun.
through the first time. I fell asleep, and then I watched it the second time, and I was like, now I know why I fell asleep. It's just, it's not a good movie. It's not a well put together story.
What they should have done was Harley and Poison Ivy on some crazy like Laurel and Hardy, or no, what was the two ladies?
Thelma and Louise.
That's it. Yeah, they could have done like a crazy Thelma and Louise style movie with Poison Ivy and Harley Quinn, and it would have been amazing because they have like a cartoon, I think, or did a cartoon that featured them too as like the main event, and I've heard good things, and I just think it'd be pretty cool.
I really didn't like the thing that bugged me the most about Birds of Prey when I was watching it is I didn't feel like it was the same Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad. Like, I felt like they took her and they made her more bubblegum. Like, she's supposed to be a dark murderer, doesn't give a shit, like, kill you or leave you. It doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I kind of feel like they bubblegummed her up a little bit in Birds of Prey. Like, halfway through, she became, like, somebody who actually had, like, some morals, and she tried not to kill people as much as just mess with them, right? Like, with all the fake weapons. It's like, no, she like, the Harley Quinn, she will kill she's psychopath. She's like Joker's girlfriend. Like she will kill you for looking at her wrong. You know, that's the character she's supposed to be. So I felt like they kind of bubblegummed her up. And then the other thing I didn't like is every man in that movie is portrayed as just like a complete idiot. And then that takes away from her because it's like you want her to be going up against villains that are like pathological, crazy, smart murderers and stuff. And they're not. They're all fucking idiots. Like, the entire movie is just every man in it is portrayed as like some kind of like male version of the bimbo kind of skew. And it's like, and it's like, I get it. I think that's kind of funny to a degree, but when it's every single person in the movie, you're like, well, I want to see her like kicking the shit out of Bruce Wayne, right? I want to see Harley Quinn like besting Batman. I want to see Harley Quinn besting, Kingpin or something like that. I don't want to see Harley Quinn just going and kicking the shit out of a bunch of like idiots. Like, where'd she go, boss? I don't know where she is. It just, that kind of wore on me and kind of drew it out. And I also didn't like the fact that she literally killed like a bajillion people in the beginning of the movie. And then like halfway through the movie, she's like against killing and she's using non-lethal weapons. It's like, what? Like, no, like go through the movie and just hack and slash. Like you can still get to your good point or your good moral at the end of the movie and still be Harley Quinn, It's like, what do they call that? Chaotic neutral or whatever it is. It's like, like Deadpool, right? Like Deadpool can just like kill anybody for any reason and not give two shits about it and not shed a tear. But he still, if he's given the opportunity to do the right thing and it still benefits him in some way, he'll do it. Yeah. But if it doesn't benefit him, he's like, meh. Like that's one thing about Deadpool. He's like, I don't want to be a hero. Like I don't care if there's children falling out of the building and they're on fire. Like if I'm eating a burrito, I'm gonna finish my burrito. But if I happen to be walking by and it's happening and there's some fame to be grabbed from it or a joke to be made, then he'll do it. So he's like, and I love that. I love that aspect of Deadpool. If they did, and I know people are like getting tired of the whole gender bending everything, but no, I'd love to see a female Deadpool. I think it would be amazing.
There is like comic source for that.
Is there really?
Gwenpool and it's Gwenpool. It's like a crossover of the Spider-Gwen and Deadpool.
Oh, that would be epic, dude. I'd watch that.
Yeah, I mean, I also think they should lean a little more toward animated films. Like Into the Spider-Verse is outrageously good.
I absolutely hated it when I saw it in the theater, but then I watched it at home and I loved it.
Dude,
in the theater though, I fucking hated it. I walked out of the movie theater and I was like, I had a headache and I was like, oh my god, dude, I can't watch this.
I can see that because like they did some really interesting things with the, I guess like in camera or whatever, quote unquote. Because like there are a bunch of scenes and most of the scenes have kind of like a fuzzy edge to them where things are like they're just slightly off. Like the colors are weird and they're out of phase. And they did that on purpose because like it's supposed to kind of give you that feeling that the universes are out of whack. And,
And the frame rate was what threw me is you'd have some things in the foreground that were like 2 frames per second, and then the background be like 60 frames per second, and it just fucked with my brain. So
they did that on purpose too. So early on in the movie, Miles is animated at 24 or 22 frames, like regular, like old school hand drawn animation.
Oh, okay.
On purpose. He's actually slower framed than the rest of the movie because it's supposed to give that feeling of him being clumsy and he hasn't smoothed out his Spider-Man-ness yet. And it isn't until after the scene where they steal the computer, where they're thwipping through the forest, and he finally gets how to swing and stuff. He's now up to 60 frames a second or whatever
so they're trying to tell like a subliminal story with him getting more refined. The movie gets more refined.
Yep, they did that.
Okay, that makes sense. But it would not knowing that going into it, like when I watched it in the theater, I was getting a headache. And I'm like, I'm used to VR, I'm used to 3D, stereoscopic 3D, all that stuff, like no problem. But for some reason, man, like I was about 15 minutes into the movie and my head hurt. And then it made it hard for me to pay attention, really. I had to keep looking away and kind of like letting my brain settle. But then I watched it at home and on a smaller screen, like, it's smaller, like 72-inch versus, covering your whole peripheral vision with some light on in the room. Then it was beautiful. It's a fantastic story. I love the multiverse theory thing. That's awesome.
I think the next live action Spider-Man is going to be some kind of multiverse, because they've reported that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are coming back, are going to be in the movie, and they're probably going to be there. They're going to play their Spider-Mans.
Wasn't Tobey Maguire Venom when he was in Spider-Man?
I think Spider-Man 3 had him as a part of the Venom symbiote thing. Yeah, okay. Yeah, they featured that. So I'm really excited. I think this is going to be pretty cool. I'm afraid. I feel like there's been a lot of push to make these like live action movies out of like cartoons, especially like Disney's pushing real hard and turning their whole vault into live action movies. And I feel like there's so much more you can do. There is a place for animated storytelling that doesn't always translate well into live action movies.
No, I agree, because you can literally do anything in a cartoon and it makes sense.
Yeah, and it's okay. Like
we're conditioned from children to know that the Roadrunner can take a giant 1,000-pound concrete mallet and and it hits something repeatedly and it doesn't die and it makes sense. But you try to do that in live action, it like jolts your brain.
Yeah,
it's because it just doesn't logically make sense. So no, I like the idea of like keeping stuff cartoonish. Because, and the other thing too is like whenever they do and don't get me wrong, they are awesome at special effects. Like Avengers movies are digital masterpieces, right? Oh, but amazing. I still get this uncanny valley vibe when I see shit happening that shouldn't be possible.
Yeah.
It still kind of jolts my brain a little when it's like a live action, like when Tony Stark's walking along and he like taps his chest and like the nanoparticle armor or whatever like undoes on him. It's like, okay, wait a second. Like, okay, I'm trying to apply reality in a cartoon. It makes perfect sense, but in live action, you're like, that should be more of a mechanical, like slow propagating mechanism. There should be something there. Like in the first movies where it showed all the mechanisms. Right. Like when he puts on the suit and it's like you can see the bolts like screwing together and pulling the pieces together and you can see it and you there's a human inside of there. It like works. But the nanoparticle thing, I love the idea of it, but it's still just like it seems magic. It's like it's no longer Tony Stark. It's magic. It's too well, there's like I suppose in that sense, I could see where they could have made like the nano thing a little more real. But I do feel Marvel has done a really good job of keeping their like internal physics consistent. It's a comic book world, and they've done a really good job of keeping all of that like consistent. Like they never, as an example, as from what I can recall, they never like beat up Black Widow to the same extent that they did like Captain America, because she's just a regular person. She would have been crushed and dead. Right. And so like same with Hawkeye too, right? They always kind of kept Hawkeye out of harm's way. He wasn't like up there in the front, like boxing with, Hulk or whatever. Like it wouldn't make no sense, right?
Yeah. And so like they definitely, the people who would get hurt or are never punched into a wall or hit by the main big bad guy, to where they would explode and dead. Yeah. and so they do have like, it might be hard for us to be like, oh, that's super weird and looks cheese, but it is at least consistent within their universe. And I think that they did a really good job with that.
Yeah, no, I'll give them that all the way. And I love, just to let you guys know, the Avengers movies, all of them. The entire Avengers franchise to me and the Iron Man movies are like my favorite like movies ever of all time. Like I watch them over and over and over and over, and I get the same enjoyment from them. My two all time favorites though, like that really my really standouts though is Ragnarok, Thor Ragnarok.
Oh, that was so good.
Honestly, one of my favorite movies, and like right up there with like honestly, like right up there with like Idiocracy and stuff like that. Like I absolutely, if you've not seen Thor Ragnarok, it is amazing. It is absolutely just breathtakingly amazing. Like the first 10 minutes of the movies, I was laughing so hard I was almost pissing myself. Like I won't, no spoilers, but it's like the comedy in that one is so like you could tell that they put comedy first ahead of the story. Mm-hmm. And it works. It absolutely works.
It's good.
And then the other one would be like, I love Doctor Strange. I absolutely love the idea of the character of Doctor Strange because you have somebody who's like omnipotently powerful that can control time, but they actually lay it out why he can't use it.
Right. It's
like he has all the powers. He could undo everything. He could stop Endgame. He could do all those things, but the repercussions for him doing that would be worse. Than actually letting it happen. So once you start to understand that part about the character, you're like, God, how fucked up is that? Like he's literally mad. Like Doctor Strange is crazy powerful. Mm-hmm. Like I don't think people realize Doctor Strange, if he wanted to, could just open up a fucking portal and just like shift the Earth into the dark world, you know, or in the Phantom Realm or whatever it is. He could literally go through time and like manipulate every single timeline instantaneously at the same second. He can exist in a million places at once. It's like he has all these crazy powers, but to use them, the cost to the universe is high. Yeah. Like if he could just blip Thanos out of existence, like drop him out of a portal into space and just have him freeze and die. And you're like, wow, okay, movie over. But he can't, because if he does that, then he alters the timeline and he protects the time stone. And if he fucks with the timeline, and it's bizarre. It's really bizarre.
There's still some brokenness in Endgame and whatnot when they're bouncing around the timeline to figure out the stones and stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. First off, Loki dips out with one of them, with the Tesseract.
Yep.
In the past, which is how we get the Loki show. But also, how do they get? There was one other one that doesn't make sense for how Captain America is supposed to bounce back through time and put them all back or whatever.
Yeah.
But there was one other one that doesn't add up right, and I can't recall which one now, but which is fine, like whatever.
I mean, all the movies have to have a little bit of a continuity issue because there's certain things that could happen. Like for instance, Wanda, right?
Yeah.
Wanda, they had to nerf the shit out of her because Wanda could just go Thanos, and game over.
And she hasn't like come into her power yet, I think is the deal. Cause like there is a comic storyline where she like recreates all of reality because like her kid dies or something, or she gets super pissed and like deletes all of reality and it has to like reboot or something. And like, but I think that's further down the line.
It was the Soul Stone. It was the one you're talking about because she had to die. She had to die to get the Soul Stone. So how do you return that? Like you just cash it in and get it back? Because they said you couldn't do that. The Red Skull said you can't do that. Like that's not how it works. Like once you get the stone, the soul's gone forever. So there's no bringing it back. So it's like, how did Captain America return the Soul Stone? Like, did he just keep it? Like, did he just put it in his pocket? Because like, how do you give it back? You go to the guy's like, we already got one. Like, I don't need another one, bro.
Exactly. Yeah.
How many Soul Stones are there in these like millions of different timelines? So yeah, that does kind of break things a little bit. And then you also wonder, it's like if they failed to get the stone, why don't they just go back to the exact moment where the stone was lost and just grab it there? Yeah. Like instead of going through like a whole different alternate timeline again, just be like, oh, rewind. We're just going to go back, right before Hulk comes crashing through the elevator. We're just going to pick up the case and get the fuck out of the way. It's like, so there are a lot of continuity issues, but given how many millions of things could happen, they did a really good job of keeping it together. I think the best that they could, because everything that they do, there's like a million different reasons why it couldn't happen. Right.
And just by them fiddling around, it opens the door to multiverse. Which is I think the next Doctor Strange movie has to come first before the next Spider-Man, because it's literally like Doctor Strange and the something of the multiverse or something. Yeah, they're all
tied together. I know that because I found a website that shows you exactly what order to watch every movie in: Iron Man, Spider-Man, the Avengers movies, Doctor Strange. Like if there is an order where they all kind of dip into each other a little bit and reference each other, at least the timelines. So there is a way that you're supposed to like navigate through it all. I know that. Right. Oh, I love that. Why not kill baby Thanos? I loved it when he recommended that. Who was it? Iron Patriot, the guy that plays Iron Patriot, Rhodes.
Right.
Rhodes is like, yeah, so why don't we just like go back baby Thanos, be like like
Right?
choke him with some wire or whatever. They're like, oh my god, dude, you're fucking sick, dude. He's like, what like you weren't thinking it?
Yeah.
Didn't Deadpool do that? Wasn't there a joke in Deadpool about that where he like goes back and he like kills baby Hitler?
He goes. I know at the end of Deadpool 2, he fixes like the time jumpy thing, and he goes back and kills like different versions of himself, and like he goes back to that terrible Wolverine movie, and he kills the Deadpool that's supposed to be in that one.
Yeah,
he goes back and kills Ryan Reynolds before he.
But I thought he killed baby Hitler. Am I remembering that wrong, guys? Or did he actually go
maybe.
and like because I thought he like appears and it's like baby Hitler, and like you can tell he's got his little mustache or whatever. He's like in the crib, and then it just shows him go, poosh, and then it's to the next one.
Yeah,
like I thought he killed, because I remember when I was watching the end of that I was shocked. But the best one was when he killed himself in real life.
Yeah, that was good.
Like if you guys didn't see the end cutscene to Deadpool, like when he's or the second one, the Deadpool when he's using Cable's time travel device. And he goes to and it shows Ryan Reynolds reading the script for the Green Lantern. And he just walks up and just puts the gun to his head, and just like desk pops him a couple times in the head, and then walks off, and you see the blood just draining all over the script of the Green Lantern. I was like, dude, that is the greatest breaking of the fourth wall I've ever seen. And a movie. I laughed so hard. Honestly, that was probably one of the best parts of the movie, and I loved the movie. It was crazy. Hey, Pinking, thank you for the $5, man.
Woo!
I appreciate it. It said Travax materials are sourced here in the USA. Cool, man. Pup Shepherd, my man, thank you for the $5. Merry Christmas. Said, would you imagine if you, Jay, Paul, and Kyle did a collaboration video with me? Tech or Puppy, I'm down. I hope your Xmas is too. I hope you're well, Wags. Dude, I couldn't even get those people together to even just do a collaboration with just me.
Yeah, no way.
That's like they're all super duper famous now. Fits like a glove. Thank you for the $30 super chat. That is super duper generous, my friend. Thank you so much for that. Merry Christmas. He said, enjoy these streams every week. Happy holidays. Keep it up, AuxxZillary. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Fits like a glove. We got Shika Dance coming at us with a $5 super chat. He said, Merry Christmas, guys. I hope you had a great one. Well, I mean, all things considered, yeah, I think I had a great one. You had a good one, right?
It was good, yeah.
And Sir Deluxe, thank you for that $5 super chat, man. We do appreciate that support. Yeah, the only regret I have. Oh wait, yeah, the baby Hitler scene is a deleted scene, but it definitely exists. That's what it was. It wasn't, because I went and saw it on the day that it came out in theaters, and I bet you it wasn't a deleted scene until people complained. I bet you people complained and they had to delete it after that, because I do remember seeing the scene where he walks in and he just like pops baby, like he goes into the German nursery and just shoots him while he's like in the bed, like in the crib. But I could see people getting like really upset about that. But it's like, dude, you went to see a Deadpool movie. What did you expect? Like, it's Deadpool. The dude will literally do anything. Killbit, thank you for the £5. He said, what's your take on standing desks? Probably not the best time to ask me that question.
Yeah.
but no, I like them. I have 2 standing desks. I have one out in my garage makerspace, and I have one in the loft that my wife uses and I use for projects when I need to. They're nice. They're actually really, really nice. I mean, from an ergonomic standpoint, sitting all day is not good.
No, it's
really not good. Like, it's fucked up my back like irreparably over the years, sitting and programming for hours and hours and hours with a sit stand workstation. Like, as a matter of fact, my back was so bad when I was working long hours at Microsoft. My doctor actually wrote me a note for them to get me a sit stand workstation. And so when I worked at Microsoft for 10 of the 15 years I was there, I had a sit stand workstation and I would use it constantly. Nice. So what I would do is I'd go in the morning, I'd sit down, I'd drink my coffee, I'd code for a couple hours, I'd go to a meeting. When I came back from my meeting, I'd raise it up to its upright position, and then I'd work for another hour or two like that, and then I'd lower it back down, and then I'd sit and I'd alternate that throughout my day. And my back was much better when I was doing that. I would actually, honestly, I would love to have a sit stand workstation in this room, but I can't because I have vaulted ceilings. And the only place I'd be able to put the desk is right here in front of the windows where the air conditioner is, which would be freezing my legs off. And then I'd have all the light coming in from behind the screens, which is not good. You don't want your screens facing into light because it'll basically kill the perceived contrast of the screens. And I don't want to block off the only natural light coming into the room. So I really don't have a lot of options. Like, I guess I could put it in the middle of the room. Like, I've seen people do that before, where it's like they set up their whole setup in the middle of the room and then conceal the wires. But I really don't like that. It'd fuck with my OCD.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's good. If you can't get a proper standing desk, they make little things that go on top of your regular one to lift up your keyboard and monitor and stuff, so you can stand at your regular desk. Yeah, super.
They're cheap now too.
Yeah, I mean, a couple $100, about what you'd pay for any other normal desk.
Yeah, they
these
used to,
days.
dude. I remember when sit stand workstations, the cheapest one you get was like $1,000.
Yeah.
And now there's a company. I wish I could remember the name. I always forget it. But there's a company that makes bases. You can just buy the base. Yeah, and I want to say it's like $300, and then you can put any top you want. Like you go to IKEA and buy like a big what do they call those, chef slabs or whatever?
Oh yeah, the butcher block.
Yeah, you can buy a huge butcher block, like an 8-foot butcher block from IKEA for like $80 or $100. Throw it on top of that, and you will have the sturdiest, like most beefy, and it can lift. I think it's up to 300 pounds.
Nice.
God, if I can remember the name of it, I'll let you guys know. Oh, Autonomous. There it is. Yeah, Nick just named it. Yeah, it's Autonomous. So Autonomous sent me one of their desks a long time ago. I love it. It's fantastic. I'd be using it right now if it fit where I need it right here. But yeah, it's got up and down. It moves up and down pretty quickly too. It supports up to like 200-300 pounds. And it also, the other thing that I like about it, in addition to being really sturdy, is you can save the height. It's got a little digital indicator of how many inches the surface is off the ground, and you can actually save your setting so that you can have 3 different heights. So you can do like a height for sitting, you can do a height for standing, and then you can do a height for if you have somebody in your house that's a different height standing. You can adjust it and save the settings. But yeah, they're cheap. Like they used to be thousands of dollars. Like I remember my sit stand workstation at Microsoft when because we get to see the bills for anything that we request. They send us an invoice. And the furniture company that Microsoft used for my sit stand workstation, the corner piece that held my monitors and my PC, just the corner piece of the sit stand workstation was $1,200. And then the extended leaves on the end that gave you a little bit more space, like these little like 3-foot by 3-foot squares that would go up and down with the desk because they all network together. So they move together. Yeah, those little things on the side were like $600 or $800 a pop. So my sit stand workstation was like over $3,000.
Nice.
And that was like Microsoft's like company discount too, to like get them. So I did try to take them with me when I got laid off. I was, but then people kept getting caught by security trying to take furniture out of the building, and they were like, nope. They didn't mind if we stole the computers and the laptops and all the office supplies and shit, but I guess they drew the line at like physically taking the desks out of the rooms. What do we got here? Jeffrey, thank you for the $2. Said fake news. There's no David thumbnail. Merry Christmas. Oh yeah, I didn't change the thumbnail. I just copied it from last week.
It's the old one. Yeah,
it's all right. You guys will see David. He's coming back. He's here in spirit. We had to put him in the thumbnail.
Eventually, I guess maybe if you guys keep complaining, he might not.
Yeah, maybe we'll have to just ban him from the show, and he'll never be able to come back again.
Yeah.
Huh? See, so hey, watch your step, guys. Step lightly. Who are we kidding, dude? We could never kick David off this show. We love him too much. He's our favorite. He's our new favorite celebrity. We lovers him. Let's see. Killbit. No, I already read that one. Hold on. I'm just making sure I didn't miss any of these. There's quite a few little super chats today. Got Sir Deluxe. Geek Moto again. Thank you for that. Dave, thank you for the 10 pounds. He said, Merry Christmas, Jerry and Ox. How did you break your foot? I kicked a bed frame on accident. I was literally building my new bed. So let me give you guys the whole spiel here. So Christmas Eve, I decided it would be a good idea on Christmas Eve of all days to take my sleep number bed out of my bedroom, clear out the nightstands, unbolt everything from the wall, clear out the whole room, steam clean the carpets, vacuum the carpets, and build a whole new bed in the room on Christmas Eve. And I somehow thought that with as busted up as my back is and shit, and as hard it is for me to move around limping already without a broken foot, I figured that I could probably get this done in like 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
It was 3 a.m. in the evening when we put the mattress down. Like when we finished, the finishing touch. It took me literally all day and all night to do this. And luckily towards the end, after I finished steam cleaning, took everything out of the room, pulled all the wiring back and everything like that. After I finished steam cleaning, I started assembling the bed frame for the new one. And I walked over the bed frame. I didn't lift my foot enough. And I just literally soccer kicked it with my pinky. And I thought I just stubbed my toe, but I felt a pop. And it instantly started poofing up. Like it blew up like a little grape, and I had to put an ice pack on it. And I couldn't get up on my feet. Like after that, I had to sit there for about an hour. I took a bunch of painkillers, and once I had the painkillers in me, I got back up and I just basically hobbled around, and it slowed us down to a snail's pace. But we were able to still get the whole bed built and everything. But yeah, I'm on day 2 now of a broken foot, and it feels like it's not just the pinky; it's also the pain is radiating up into the top of the foot and to the outside. So, and it's so tender, I can't put a sock on it. I can't brush it. I can't touch it. It's very, very painful. So, and I have it wrapped in compression right now, just because if I leave it out of compression, it just starts throbbing and I can feel my heartbeat, and every heartbeat hurts. Hey, Robert, what's up, my man? What's up, Mr. Darth Tigger 501? Thank you for that $5 super chat, my friend. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. That's actually you know Dark Digger, don't you, Ox?
Yeah.
No, yeah. I figured I introduced you guys.
Mm-hmm.
He's got my X card, the big CNC machine. So if you ever need anything cut out like 3 foot by 3 foot or whatever, let me know.
Okay.
Like if you ever need a sick guitar body, like that's what a lot of people use them for, is cutting out guitar bodies. I have not got an X-ray yet because obviously I wasn't going to the emergency room on Christmas. I did consult the doctor though. I called up Dr. Adam. So he does have a doctorate. May not be in medical science, but doesn't matter. He's a doctor nonetheless. So his entire family's physicians. So I called him up and he told me what to look for. He said if it started turning black and blue and it got any bigger than about a silver dollar, that I should go into the emergency room because of like a rare condition that can happen with a break. But he said as long as it's just swollen and it just hurts. He said the pinky toe, like there's nothing they can really do for it. Like all they do is put a splint on it. There's nothing more that they can really do. It's got to heal on its own. And plus your pinky toe is like next to worthless. It doesn't even really play that much of a part in your balance or anything like that. It's kind of like one of those superfluous organs that you have. So yeah, even if I don't get like full mobility back into it or whatever, it's like no huge deal. Like nothing super lost. And plus, I'm going to save the money because there's even with my insurance, with the deductible and everything, if I go to the emergency room, I'm still going to be paying like probably $1,000 out of pocket. It's like I can't do that. Yeah, there's no
toes aren't worth it. I compound fractured my big toe on my right foot. Like I straight on jammed it into something and I had to like pull it back straight.
Oh, God, it hurts to even hear, dude.
Yeah, that sucked. And they don't do nothing. Yeah, they'll just. I didn't go to the doc or anything for it. I just taped it to the toe next to it, like Tom Webb is saying, and put on a sock, and that was it. It hurt for like 2 weeks, but whatever. It just nothing you can really do.
I did the same thing to my foot. Like if you guys, I don't know if you guys remember, but like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was trying to resurrect my hot tub in my backyard, I got mad and I kicked the pump that's on the hot tub. I just got mad and just like totally just soccer ball kicked it, and I was wearing Crocs. So my it's soft-toed Crocs, and it jammed my big toe and the toe next to it so hard into my foot that the toenails turned black and blue and like fell off, and my toes turned black. Like it didn't. I don't think it broke them, but it like fractured the shit out of them, and that took probably 6 months to heal. And I walked with a limp during that time, but they healed all right. Like my big toe works again and everything. So I think this pinky toe is less damaged than that, and I didn't go to the hospital for that either. So I think I'll be all right. I also fractured my pinky too. So like, I don't know, you probably can't tell on camera, but it's like my pinky on this hand is like poking up. Like the little knuckle right there. But on this one, it's flat. I flattened out the knuckle because I punched a wall and I missed, and I hit the beam, and I caught the beam with my knuckle, and it just flattened it out. Just like literally like taking a hammer and just hitting it, just flattened the bone out. Yikes. And so now my it works now, but for a long time it clicked. Whenever I move my pinky up and down like this, I go pop, 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 pop. It just did not heal right, but I think it wore itself down to where now it seems to work fine. But yeah, it's like that knuckle is like noticeably less pointy on that side now. It just flattened her out.
Ouch.
But yeah, don't punch walls, guys.
Yeah, don't do that.
Because you literally have, a pretty good chance of catching the beam. Like, and I've been lucky up to that point. I've missed the beam about the 20 other times I've gotten mad and punched a wall. Hey, it's better to punch a wall than living things. Okay.
Yeah, that's true.
I highly recommend but try to get a punching bag or punch a pillow, or screaming into a pillow is a good one too. I learned that from my therapist. Like literally just go tackle your pillow, bury your face in it, and scream into it as loud as you possibly can. All good alternatives to punching the wall, because when you punch the wall, you got to fix the drywall and potentially go to the hospital. Hey, Wendy, thank you for the $5 super chat. She said, I would kiss your boo-boo, but you're taken. Oh, it's okay. You can kiss my boo-boo. That's okay. That's not considered cheating. Well, I mean, I guess it depends on where the boo-boo is. But in this case, yeah, you'd be all right. You'd be all right. I probably should wash my foot first, though, so that you don't die of, like, foot fungus. But, I'm just saying. Kissing boo-boos is okay, I believe. I don't know. I'll ask Miss Barnacules and get back to you. As long as it's just kissing the boo-boo and it doesn't go beyond that into, like, I don't know, savoring the boo-boo or like I don't know. It could get weird. It could get weird really fast when you're talking about feet. I'm just saying. It's like when I posted that picture. Man, feet is a weird thing too. That's
feet.
Yeah. Some people are like, I know people that literally get like their stomach turns when they see feet. Like there are people that literally get physically ill seeing a foot close up. Like it actually makes them uneasily sick. And then there's people that like see a foot and it's like to them it might as well be like genitals or something. Like it's it's bizarre. It's like it's weird that that's the one thing, like it's just there's such a huge gamut there. There's some people that love it. There's some people that just absolutely can't stand it. Me, I'm indifferent. I'm just like, a foot's a foot, right? Yeah. Like, to me, it's just a hand on the other side of your body. Like, it doesn't really hold any special meaning to me. But it's funny because anytime I've ever shown my foot, like there's a YouTube video I did called like opening stuff I forgot I ordered. Like, it's an old video. It's like 7 years old. And I have toenail polish on because I actually got, long story. I went with my wife to the dentist and I told her she did a good job at the dentist because she was scared to death of them. That I would go and get a pedicure with her afterwards. And I did. And I let him paint my toes. Anyways, if you look at the comments on the video, it's like every 9 comments on the video are about my feet either being disgusting or sexy, or I want to lick them, or I want to throw up. And that's all the comments on the video. And like, there's every once in a while, there's a comment talking about the stuff that I actually unboxed. The entire video, like every view on it and everything was just because of my feet showing. And so it was at that point that I realized that, yeah, the foot fetish is real, sir. It is real. That is definitely a thing that is not a gag. That is like, there are people that really are into that or absolutely hate it. Oh, Robert, you just missed that. We were talking about Wonder Woman 84 earlier. I liked it. AuxxZillary was kind of indifferent. Like he thought it was kind of meh, you know, but I think I dislike it if I was looking at it through that lens, but I kind of went into it looking at it from the lens of it's 1984 and they're trying to emulate the Superman movies and stuff like that. And I kind of felt like they did a decent job from that standpoint.
Coming at like putting it in that perspective, like, okay, let's think of this as an 80s movie.
Yeah.
It's that definitely, that puts a little different spin on it, but yeah.
Yeah. Like the way they did the villains and stuff, like, you know, they do it completely different now. Right. It's like, it's like the villains. I was thinking more like the Lex Luthor villains of like the 80s where you have all the exposition and everything, and it's like, and I'm gonna own the world, not gonna write like what would you wish for if you could have anything? Like, I want to be the wisher, you know. It's like, that's the kind of shit that would happen in the 80s, but nowadays it'd be people are too smart, right? It's like now people with all the technology and understanding how things work, and you can't really like pass that anymore. It's like, no, if you can have a wish to have like any wish in the world, it's like you literally just wish for like immortality, unlimited money, and can never be trapped. Right. Like you have those 3 things, you're set. However, a question came up while I was watching the movie last night that I want to pose to everybody in chat, including you, AuxxZillary, is I immortality would be cool, but there is no situation in which you're just immortal and it's worth it. Like think about it. If you're immortal, at some point the earth has to explode, right? At some point, the sun has to consume the earth. If you're immortal, right? And you would literally just be burning for eternity. All life would be dead. Then the earth would be sucked into a black hole. You'd be sucked into a black hole and you'd literally just be stuck in the event horizon getting spun around for eternity. And there's not a fucking thing you could do about it if you were immortal.
Well, okay, so that assumes that there is no way to leave this planet and go to another one.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. But let's say you fucked up.
What in the 4 billion years it's going to take for the sun to burn out? Like, you'd think there'd be some advancement. But yeah,
like, what if your ship breaks down? What if you're in
suck.
deep space and your ship breaks down and you can't fix it? Like, you need a part and you can't get to it.
It also depends on how you define immortality. Like it could be like the way the elves are, right? Where they have an infinite lifespan, but can still die, like from a wound, right?
Oh, gotcha. Like they don't age out, but they can still physically be killed.
Right.
Okay, gotcha.
Which, like, that's probably, So like there's some definition that we need to apply here, because like immortal versus invincible versus like, what if you just age infinitely? Like, you just keep getting older and older and older, but you don't die. Like, that would suck.
That would be like
it would suck.
The Doctor Who character. What was his name? God damn it. The guy that's immortal, who lives forever. He's got the nanobots inside of him that just keep healing him. They did a spin-off with him.
Captain Jack Harkness.
Yeah, Captain Jack Harkness is biologically immortal.
He's actually a fixed point in time. That's why he doesn't die.
Oh, because I remember an episode of Doctor Who where it was like 1 billion years in the future or whatever, and he's literally just the stretched skin of his face.
He becomes the face of Bo.
Yeah, the face of Bo, exactly. So
it's implied that he becomes the face of Bo after a while. I don't know that they ever really like super confirmed it, but like there is a scene where Captain's leaving and he goes, "Oh yeah, as a kid I was like a model and they called me the face of Bo," which is like the village he was from or something. Yeah.
But if that was true, that means that he still is immortal, but he degrades at some point. Like at some point he degrades enough that that's all that's left. Right. But it's like eventually does he just age out to where he's just a single particle that with his memory and everything intact, but he can't do anything?
In the Doctor Who thing, the face of Bo does eventually die. There is an episode where he dies.
From being killed or from aging out?
I think from just aging out.
Oh, okay, so he wasn't biologically immortal. He just lived a really, really long time.
Right. Something. Okay. So the way that it was explained, that I recall it being explained, was Jack couldn't die because he as himself was a fixed point in time. Like you could shoot him and he'd like die, but then he'd like be right back. And then something must happen for him to become the face of Bo, because like he doesn't even look like himself anymore. He's not even like anything.
Yeah, you can't tell like at all unless they said anything. You would never make that assumption.
Yeah.
Hey Dave, thank you for the 10 pounds, man. It said Merry Christmas, Jerry and Ox. Hope you had a great Christmas. Think you missed my last super chat. No, we read it. We did. I remember, Dave.
What was it?
He said Merry Christmas. And he said, "How did you break your foot?" And I told him I kicked the bed frame.
Yeah, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, I think he might have just missed it when we were talking about it earlier. But thank you for another 10 pounds. We'll gladly take it.
Thank you.
Money makes the world go round, and we got a new year ahead of us. We got to survive, so we do appreciate the sport.
And those pound sterling is good for us,
dude. The pounds are good, man.
Those
are the good pounds, not the bad pounds. Those are the good pounds.
By all means,
these are the pounds I want to get rid of. Those are the pounds I want to get. Yeah, but think about that though. Like if you were immortal, like you said, let's say, okay, you're immortal. You're able to accumulate infinite amounts of knowledge. Let's say you'd only have, eventually you get to the point where it's like, you could just create the technology and stuff to like, get yourself around the universe. But at some point the universe still has to explode, right? How do you survive Big Bang again? Yeah. It's like, how do you say at some point, time has to like recycle, right? The whole universe has to recycle at some point. It might be a Googleplex years in the future, but being immortal, it's like, what would it feel like to have to go through that event if you couldn't die?
Boring.
Like, oh my God. That's what I was thinking. It'd be like, like in Kill Bill where you're wake up buried in a box. It's like, imagine just being stuck in a black hole where it's like, you can't see light. You can't hear anything. Like you're devoid of any sensory and you're just literally just being tumble dried for eternity. Nobody to talk to. Even if somebody else could talk to you, the environment is so harsh that you'd never know they were there. Like, oh God, could you imagine? That'd be worse than death. There are things that are worse than death.
Oh, for sure.
Like, no doubt. Being immortal and just burning to death in a sun, right? Like you just get stuck in the gravitational pull of a sun, you get pulled into it and you just slowly work your way to the core of the sun, just being this sentient molten fluid. Like, oh God, it'd be the worst, man. So I was thinking about that and I was like, would you wish for immortality? I don't think you would.
What
you know what I'd put a clause. Add a clause.
Yeah, go for it.
No, I was gonna say add a clause. So like if you wish for immortality, you should have a clause in there that says, I want to be immortal, except for I get to choose when I die.
That's the way to go. It's like I want to live for as long as I want.
Bingo. That's the way to do it. That's the way to word it. Because if you did that, then if you get stuck in the sun, you just fuck. I tried everything. I can't get out of it. I'm turn off the lights. I'm done. I think that's the way to go. That's the way to go. It has to be a thought too, because obviously if it was something like you had to wish for verbally and you were stuck in a situation where you couldn't open your mouth, you're fucked.
Yeah.
So there you go. So immortality.
The will. Yeah.
Immortality, but you get to pick when you die. Unlimited resources. So you have access to literally any resource that you need at any time. Like you can get it. Doesn't matter. Money, precious metals, technology. Unlimited access to everything. Immortality, you get to pick when you die, and you can never be trapped. That would be what. And that would also imply like being pulled into a black hole or the sun, that you get to reset your location in the universe in the event that happens. I think that in those situations, I think that would be a pretty cool like group of that'd be the wishes that I'd make, because then you'd basically be a truly omnipotent being that could do anything. Or you could just say I want to be like Q. Right? Like be like Q from Star Trek, where you're basically a god that can like create and destroy universes. You can travel through time. And if you decide at some point you want to die, you simply just commit suicide. Like you're the only thing that can kill a Q is a Q. Right. So actually, I'm not sure now. Can a Q kill themselves? I forget. I'm trying to remember. Can a Q kill themselves, or is that like they technically can, but they're not allowed to, right?
I think
or something like that.
I think that's the spin on it.
Or like it takes a Q to kill a Q, because I know they do execute Q. Like I know that the Q continuum can execute another Q, so they can like excommunicate and make him mortal and kill him. But I'm trying to remember if they can kill themselves. Like if a Q just gets depressed and they did everything in the universe, can they just off themselves?
Right. Trying to find this is Star Trek. Can a Q kill themselves?
There you go. Oh man, Matthew, thank you so much for the 5 Canadian dollaroos. He said, "Hey Barnacules, hope you and your family had a Merry Christmas. Thought this might give you some money for coffee. I appreciate it because I always could use more coffee."
I love coffee. I love coffee. I've actually toyed with the idea of signing up for one of those like monthly coffee things where they send you like a pound of coffee, like fancy or like indie coffee and stuff like that.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
We had one of those for a while. It's pretty cool.
There was an episode of Voyager called Death Wish.
I remember it.
And there is the story. So I'm just going to quote this from what I found here. The story follows a Q named Quinn, played by Garrett Graham, who seeks asylum aboard Voyager so that he can commit suicide in order to end the tedium he's endured as an immortal being. Also involved are Q, John DeLance, Lenise, and Riker, with Q attempting to defend the Q continuum, and Riker called upon to share how his life was profoundly changed by Q's influence.
I do remember that episode. It was the older Q. I remember that. It wasn't the regular Q. It was the older Q, and he comes aboard and he basically just wants them to help him kill himself because he's done everything that can be done, and he's basically bored. I do remember that. I don't remember the outcome though, but I know they don't kill him. I think they turn him mortal or something. He has to live out his life as a mortal or something. I don't exactly remember. Hey Dave, thank you for the £5. He said, sorry you did not miss my super chat. I'm 15 minutes behind. Sorry, had to pause for my dinner. Oh, okay. No, that makes sense. So you came back and you hit play, so you're 15 minutes behind. So yeah, just fast forward and then you'll be at the live show and then you can watch what you missed afterwards. There you go. Q kills Q2? Oh, he does. They made him mortal and then he killed himself. Oh, okay. Okay. So they did make him mortal and then he chose to take a poison. I remember that. I think he eats like some poison berries or something he gets out of the replicator. Huh. I haven't seen that episode in a very, very long time. So yeah, okay. So a Q can kill themselves because all you need is another Q to make you mortal. And then once you're mortal, then you can do whatever you want. But here's the question.
Yep.
Can't Q bring things back from the dead?
It could.
So couldn't the Q just like bring the dude back from the dead if they wanted to and then make him a Q again and then he's fucked? So is that really dying at that point? Like dying is like death is defined as having some kind of finality to it, right? So if you can be brought back from the dead, you never, I mean, did you really die? I mean, I guess technically you died, but are you dead? If you can be brought back, because if you can be brought back, you're not really dead. I mean, you're basically, for all intents and purposes, sleeping.
Right.
That's an interesting little semantic.
Yeah, it goes a bit philosophical.
Yeah, like resurrection. Does resurrection? Wouldn't that just be like if you died and somebody gave you CPR? Is that the same as being resurrected?
Yeah. Right.
Kinda. Right. I mean, it's like you were dead, your heart stopped. But they got it going again, so you're kind of back. It's like, how long do you have to be dead before it's considered resurrection? Oh,
that's
man,
an interesting
philosophical question.
There was, I think this was a year or more ago, but there was a guy on. He had like a life sentence, right, without parole. Like somehow he died, like his heart stopped, and they were able to revive him. And he was claiming that he fulfilled his sentence. I don't know how that ended. I imagine they kept him locked up. But his argument was that I died. I lived out my life sentence. You guys brought me back, so I should now be absolved of my...
Yeah, because wouldn't that be double jeopardy if they killed you twice? Like,
well, you're still under your sentence, right?
Yeah.
Like, you're not being retried. That's double jeopardy. You can't be tried for the same crime twice. So like if you get not guilty for murder, they can't charge you for the same murder.
But they can't sentence you twice, right?
I put them in your purse.
Here, I'm just going to take this opportunity to nom on my ding-a-ling here.
This is in the car and it's not working.
Oh. I literally found these on the floor outside my office. Oh.
I thought for sure they were in your purse.
This is the mukbang part of the show. Oh, and the Bible is 3 days like Lazarus.
Okay.
But again, it's like if he was like alive again and walked out, then what's the consequences of death? Zero. If you know you're going to be brought back to life and you know that you're not going to be dying, it's not going to be final. Is it really death? Good question. This is good, man. I'm putting a ding dong in my mouth and it's delicious. Hey, is it just a coincidence that ding dongs come in packs of 2 spherical things? The marketing department had an innuendo going on there, didn't they? Miss Liz said nom a ding-a-ling. Nom nom nom. Hey, don't judge me. I like to put ding-a-lings in my mouth, okay?
Sure. Yeah, no, they're good.
So good. They're delicious, man. They burst in your mouth. Demonetized.
Yeah, right.
That's why we got to find sponsors, man. Be like, today's sponsored by Ridge Wallet and Raid Shadow Legends and
man.
Audible and
seriously.
And what's the home Simply Safe and
and NordVPN.
NordVPN. Well, actually, I am sponsored by NordVPN. Technically, I just never push it. I do like NordVPN though. They've been good to me. How long does CPR? After how long does CPR turn into necrophilia?
That's terrible.
Oh God.
Boo.
Oh man, that is a terrible mental image. Oh, that's terrible. I don't think that there's anything officially on the books like how long you have to give CPR before you make terrible life decisions.
Right.
Speaking of terrible things, do you guys want to hear about my friend's vacation nightmare?
Yeah, let's get into that.
Oh my God, here I can take my hat off for this one. Oh, this is gonna be weird. This is gonna creep. Just fair warning. This is gonna creep a lot of people out. By hearing this story, it may change how you vacation for the rest of your life, and it may end up making you overly paranoid. Okay, I'm just gonna preface this story with that, just in case you're a person that travels a lot and you don't want your vacations completely ruined forever. And it also might induce panic from previous vacations that you had that this probably happened to you and you didn't even realize it.
Uh-oh.
So, all right. So let's just jump right into it. My friend decides to take his wife on a dream vacation that they've just their lifelong dream vacation, right? They've accomplished everything. The COVID made it impossible for them to go into work anymore. So they work remotely now. They can be anywhere in the world and work. They're like, we're going to go take a long vacation. So they pack up and they go to Hawaii. And they're going to be in Hawaii for 4 months. So a really long vacation. Like they went there, they booked all the places they're going to stay. And, like a month here, a month here, a month here, a month here. And they're like moving around, right?
Yeah. Okay.
So they've been there for about 2 months. And they booked everything through Airbnb. And they go to the third location. And it was either the second or the third location that they were at. But they were there for like a week or two. And they suddenly get an email from Airbnb that says that you need to vacate the premises immediately. No warning, nothing. They're like, there's a problem with the property or something like that. You need to get the fuck out ASAP. That was literally, they showed me the email. The email was like, as soon as possible, you need to leave the premises now. No details. So they're freaking the hell out and they're like, what the fuck could it be? Right?
Yeah.
What could it be? They have no idea. They're like, why the hell would you just run it? So they send them a mail and they're like, hey shit, we're scared. Can you tell us what's going on? Airbnb just ghosts them. So if you guys noticed, I was on Twitter and I was tweeting messages and tagging Airbnb saying, you motherfuckers better take care of this immediately because my friend is on the phone, like fucking just going crazy. Like, hey, can you help me, dude? Like, can you get a hold of Airbnb? They're fucking ghosting us. They're not. And so, I did what any big YouTuber does and throw their cloud around and it worked. Airbnb immediately engaged them and started calling them back. And it was so bad. First of all, they asked for a refund. They said, just refund us and we'll go somewhere else. Because everything else was booked through Airbnb. So they had to go to like a hotel or something, right? So Airbnb wasn't willing to refund them the full vacation. They were only going to refund them the balance after they were kicked off the property, which is unacceptable in this case. Like you're literally being forced to relocate and to find another property right before Christmas. 3 days before Christmas, you're not going to find a property. And if you do, it's going to be 3 times as expensive.
Oh, yeah.
So they're basically, for all intents and purposes, homeless. They have to get out. They have nowhere to go. They're like already telling me that they're probably just going to sleep on the beach that night. Like they're just going to just go out there and just get hammered and sleep on the beach. I mean, it is Hawaii, so it'd probably still be kind of nice. But anyways, they're freaking out. So, and they think like, are we in danger? Airbnb won't tell them if they're in danger or not. Like when you're told to vacate a premises ASAP and you're not given any details, and it's a contracted thing that you paid tens of thousands of dollars for, that's a big deal. So anyways, Airbnb content, Miss Liz knows where this is going. So Miss Liz is way ahead of the curve here. So anyways, they pack up as fast as they can and they leave the property and they go and stay in a hotel. Luckily, Airbnb, because of my tweet, and they thanked me for this, Airbnb had one of their executive people reach out to them and offered them a full refund, including the money that was already spent on the property. They refunded them the whole thing, including their week they stayed there. They even gave them an extra bonus of, I think, $250 to quickly get a hotel for the night so that they had a day to figure shit out and to go find another property. And Airbnb even said they'd help them find another property, but they were like, fuck you, Airbnb, you're garbage, we're never using you again. So long story short, they did find a new property. Like they are, I don't know if they've moved into it yet. They might still be in the hotel, but they did find a new property that they can lease, and they're doing it directly from the owner of the property. They're not, they're going to fuck Airbnb. They're just dealing with the property owner directly. Which, if you can do that, is the way to go. Like, that is definitely the way to go. Airbnb is, like, a piece of shit, honestly. Like, don't think that they're a hero for doing this. I literally had to use my fucking clout and verified Twitter account to get them to do this. If you were just a pleb and you didn't have, like, some fucking G-rated, celebrity on the internet, you wouldn't have got the same treatment. Airbnb would just give you the cold shoulder. I went and looked in the forums. Airbnb treats people like shit. They're a terrible, terrible fucking company. So that's not the bad part, though. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
Well, it's in the same way that, like, Uber or any of these sort of gig working sort of deals, they tend not to care a whole lot about their subcontractors.
Yeah, they treat both people like they're the customer, right? Like there is no accountability. They just point fingers at one side or the other. It's never them.
Yeah.
So, and in this case, they told him, oh, it's the property owner. They wouldn't give him any details, though. They still would not give him any details. So they still don't know why they were kicked off the property. So they get contacted by the property owner directly. The property owner just goes right around to Airbnb and says, listen, we have all the licensing for this property. We would love to have you back to the property. We can do a deal directly. Like, we can just cut Airbnb out because they're being stupid fucking people. And my friend's like, okay, this is really weird. Like, okay, so now the property owner wants us to come back, but they want to just work around Airbnb. And Airbnb just wants out of the whole deal entirely. Like, and really quickly, too. This isn't like, hey, you got 4 days to get off the property. It's like, you got to get out now. So they start doing the math in their head and they start doing a little research and they call me up and we're talking back and forth. Well, the first sign that they think they might know what's going wrong is they noticed that the bathroom vent in the bathroom was glowing blue. Like one of those lights that you'd have for killing bacteria, right? Like, one of those food prep lights. They noticed that was coming out of the vent on the ceiling, but they never thought much of it. It was just something that was odd. They travel a lot. They go to a lot of hotels. They've never seen this before. So there's a blue glow coming out of the freaking like ceiling light that sucks the moisture out of there, the ceiling vent in the bathroom.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So they're like, okay, that's kind of weird. And at one point they were going to check it out, but they didn't have the tools to remove it. So they were just like, oh, fuck it. We'll just leave it there. There's light coming out of it. Well, that doesn't make any sense. Like, there's no reason to put a bacterial killing lamp in the vent that's exhaling outside. Like,
right.
What's the point of killing the bacteria in the bathroom before you eject it out the bathroom? It makes no sense. It makes no sense. So that's the first red flag. And so they wanted to go back and check the property to see if there was a hidden cam, because it turns out they went and did some research online. It turns out this is a big problem with Airbnbs, is people put hidden cams in them and they record their guests and then they trade that shit on the dark web and sell it.
That's creepy.
So they're like, this is getting really creepy. So they're like, oh shit. So they want to go back to the property and check it, but the property owner says no. The property owner's like, nope, you can't go back to the property. Nope, you can't. It's done. The codes are changed. If you go back to the property, it's trespassing now. So it's like, because I think they told the property owner that they wanted to go check, because it may not have even been the property owner. It could have been the person maintaining the property. It could have been, been the service that's going and doing laundry and stuff, right? These people usually don't maintain their own proproperties. So it could have been anybody, but it was just suspect that they wouldn't let him go back. So they're like, okay, well, that's not good. It's odd that, Airbnb wouldn't give them any additional information, because if it was a licensing issue, they would just tell you. They would just be like, property owner didn't have their documents in line. This is leaving us open for liability. Here, we'll put you in a new place. No, this was like, you need to get the fuck out now. Like, Airbnb literally was scared of some massive liability, and they wouldn't tell them shit. But we're still not 100% confirmed that it was a camera. Benefit of the doubt. Yeah. Let's just say, okay, it's some fucking weird air thing that they put a blue light in as like a night light to kind of glow into the bathroom and give you something. Let's just say it. Good. I couldn't find anything. I looked on Amazon. None of this exists. that looks anything like it. Like this is an old school vent and an old property, and there's a blue glow coming from there. I'd say it's probably the fucking light saying that the memory card's full on the camera or something like that glowing, and it was a faint glow. So they're not so worried. Well, now they go to the new hotel after they packed up everything. They got the fuck out of there. They go to the hotel room and they're unpacking. Yeah. Well, guess what was missing from their luggage? They packed for a month. So they packed enough clothing for a month when they went on the trip, and then they were going to just, wash clothes and stuff as they go. And, but they couldn't find something. And, all of my friend's wife's panties were gone. All but one pair were gone. She had packed like 12 or 15 pairs, and they were all gone. Every last one of them, except for the one that she was wearing, and I think she had one other one that was packed, were gone. So they call back Airbnb, and Airbnb immediately says, go out and buy new stuff. We've got you 100% covered. Don't worry, we'll pay for the whole thing. Okay, wait a second. Okay, so Airbnb isn't even going to like try to question the homeowner, isn't going to try to like mitigate this, isn't going to try to figure. They're just going to say, oh, we're just going to give you all the money. Don't worry about it. Just go buy all new underwear. It'll be good. No, that pretty much confirmed everything that they need to know. Airbnb knew that the property, they must have found a camera on the property. They don't want to be criminally liable for anything that's going on. The owner of the house, whether they did their cleaning agency, anyways, nobody wanted any part of it. So they're like, here, we'll just give you money. Go buy new underwear. They're gone. Yeah,
without acknowledging any, like,
so there was so that pretty much confirmed everything they need to know. So it might have been the cleaning crew, right? The cleaning crew that comes in there and does that stuff. Oh, hey, babies.
Hey, I'm going to the pharmacy.
Oh, you're going to the pharmacy? Okay, thank you, sweetheart. Hey, are you going to go by Starbucks by chance?
I can, yeah.
Can I get a coffee?
Yeah.
All right, thank you, sweetie. Need more coffee today. Today's a coffee day. So anyways, so now they unpack. She has none of her panties except for what she has, and Airbnb is like, no questions asked. We'll pay for everything. Go buy new clothes. Go buy everything. We got you. Companies don't just do that. They would be like, no. They'd be like, oh, we'll open a ticket to investigate this. We'll go check the property and see if they're still in the drawers or whatever. Maybe you forgot them. We'll go back and get them for you. No, Airbnb was like, absolutely not. Do not go back to the property. Do not do it. We will just pay for it to replace everything. So now my friends are like, what the fuck? We just want they just want some closure. They just want to know. At this point, it's like one way or the other. They really don't give that much of a shit. I mean, they do, but they just want to know. They want to know for sure. Like, was it just a blue glow, and did we just accidentally lose like 11 pairs of panties on the beach while we were staying there for a week? It's like they just want some kind of closure, and they don't have it. Sure. Yeah. So this is scary, because it turns out, after doing a little research, because once they told me about this, I decided to go be a perv myself and go on the internet and figure out like how this is happening. How are people doing it? Holy shit, man. Go on Amazon. There are about 5,000 fucking spy cams. Oh, sure. In the form of everything. Light plate covers where they pull a screw out and replace it with a fake screw that's a pinhole camera. There's toothbrush holders that are wireless with like 5-day batteries in them and stuff like that. They connect to Wi-Fi, that use shadow SSID connections so they don't show up on a Wi-Fi search. There's fucking the thing you hang your towels on in the bathroom. They make one of those where the screws that go in the end are two cameras on either end that cover 360-degree view of the entire bathroom. It is fucking crazy, and you cannot tell. Smoke alarms, yep. The ceiling fans, like they actually have ceiling fans where they have cameras literally just pointing down out of the ceiling fan. It looks like a screw hole.
I've seen it's like a USB brick, like a cell phone charger.
Yep.
That and there's like a little pinhole in there. Yeah.
Yep. Everything you can imagine. Everything you can imagine. Like you can buy entire like nightstand tables that have cameras integrated into them. And what they do is, some of the cameras are so small they literally look like it's the size of a needle. The hole. Oh yeah. It looks like a microphone hole on something, and it's a full camera. Mm-hmm. And so and all of them now have like batteries that can last forever. They have broadcast ranges that are like fucking massive. So you can literally just like set up a recording device like in a car in the parking lot and have it all streamed real time to it, so you don't even have to have a memory card in it to recover or anything. And many of these devices are designed in such a way that even if you take them apart and interrogate them, if you don't know what you're looking for, you won't even be able to see it. Like the light switch covers, when you take them off, they're like this thick, but they still look like a light switch cover, and the back is still plastic. But what you don't realize, there's a battery and a camera, everything all concealed and molded and seam welded inside of it. So unless you look at it like up against a light shining through it, or under an X-ray or something like that, or a fluoroscope, you're not going to know what's inside of it. So what I would recommend everybody, if you travel and you stay at a place, and again, hotels have been finding these. Like a hotel guests will go rent a room, they'll go into the
out.
room, and then they'll install one of these little devices and wire it into the light switch so that it's pulling power from the grid. And then they'll just leave the hotel room, and the hotel people will come in. They'll just be like, "Oh, it's a light switch cover." They're not going to remember that it looks a little bit different than the other room, right? They're always repairing and replacing shit.
Notice.
So then they just sit outside and they just sit on the signal and log into the SSID and just download the video for it. And every day somebody moves into the room, and they got video from that room. So this is happening all over the place. It happens to hotels. It happens to Airbnbs. But the problem with the Airbnb one is with a hotel, you're not going to be as worried about the staff of the hotel doing this, because the staff of the hotel, they're too close to it, right? It'd be easy to tie shit back to them and look at the footage. So you're probably not going to see a whole lot of cases. Plus, you're not going to see people installing these things because there's privacy inside of the rooms, right? Unless somebody else already has a spy cam there and they catch you in the act of doing it, and then they decide to be altruistic and come forward, right? So the bottom line here is all of us have probably at some point, if we travel and stay in a hotel room or we stay in an Airbnb, chances are you've been recorded by something and you don't know about it.
Yep.
And there's video out there, whether the person put it on the web, whether it's sitting on a hard drive or whatever. It's like there is video somewhere out there. I mean, and there's shit like one of the cams on Amazon is those those fart sprayers, those automatic fart fume sprayer things that you see in public bathrooms over urinals and stuff. Yeah, you can buy a spy cam version of that too that looks like the front is the sensor where it tells you that somebody's pissing there so that it does a little fragrance. And it actually has the fragrance in it. So you can take it in there, rip the fragrance one off the wall that's there, stuck with double stick tape, stick your one on there, and then literally just walk around inside of the building and just have a live camera until the battery goes dead. Then when the battery goes dead, you go in the bathroom, you wait for everybody to leave, and you're the only one in there, and then you just rip the fucking thing off the wall and put the other one back. Yeah. And it's like nobody would notice. These are things that just go unnoticed. We don't question it. So now that I've fucked up like everybody's comfort level ever traveling again, just know that you've probably already been recorded. So it's probably at this point, unless it shows up on the internet or something like that, and then you have legal grounds to go after it. Just assume, I mean, you've already been compromised. Like there's the odds of if you've traveled, more than a couple times a year and you stay in hotels and stuff like that, chances are you've been compromised on some level. Yep. But what is really scary is that you don't know where these things are. Like even if you're looking for them, the odds of you finding some of them is really small. Yeah. And more often than not, you're probably going to suspect shit that actually isn't a camera because it all looks so much the same. Like light bulbs. Oh my God. So on Amazon, and I can't believe Amazon sells this shit. For one, Amazon should ban the listing of anything called a spy cam. like it actually, it blows my mind that Amazon is a distributor for this. Like watch, I'll just do a search for spy cam on Amazon and searching through the list on spy cams. Oh yeah, here we go. So spy camera charger, hidden camera, premium pack, mini spy cam, 1080p USB charger camera. It looks like a USB brick for charging an iPhone, but it's got a little tiny pinhole in the front of it that just looks like a light sensor, and it's actually a camera that records internally to the brick. And then you use a male-to-male USB cable to get the video off of it. Yeah. Let's see. There's an alarm clock camera. So if you're in a hotel room and the alarm clock faces the bed, they hide the camera in the face because the face is usually a smoked cover to dim the LCD, so you don't see the electronic LCD panel behind it, and therefore you don't see the camera lens either. So, and I mean, they sell this like $70, and it's got 567 reviews. What the fuck would people be buying a nightstand nanny? They call them all nanny cams, right? Yeah, but it's clearly a camera that's designed to go on a nightstand in a bedroom, right? So the nanny doesn't sleep in your fucking bedroom, okay? So, and you scroll through here, and it's just and they have like wireless transmitters you can buy for like $42 that you can connect to these little pinhole cameras where you can just drill a tiny little hole in the drywall and just like put it on the other side of the drywall. And it's like, how are you going to detect that? You'd have to cut the fucking drywall out to see if it's a camera or not, right? Mm-hmm. Or maybe poke something up through the hole and you feel something, and then even then it's like, how do you prove it without cutting the drywall? So there's so many places now where these things can be hidden, where it's like even if you picked them up you would not know. Right. Like a battery pack. There's a 10,000 mAh battery pack on here that has a spy camera built into it, and it just looks like the reset button. Jeez. Like you put a pin in it. But yeah, this is all being sold on Amazon. Coat hangers, fucking smoke alarms.
I can see a legitimate use for some of this stuff. Again, like nanny cams, like you're saying, like, oh, you wouldn't put an alarm clock, but like your nanny might have a room,
or might even go into your room and snoop through your shit, right? So yeah, I get what you're saying.
There are definitely legitimate, because like say again, like security systems, right? Yeah. Cameras, like the Wise camera is pretty obvious. Like it's going to be tough to hide that. The motion sensors are obvious, like they're right there in a corner, and sometimes those will have cameras in them too. But like if they're obvious, then it's a lot easier to like overcome them.
Yeah.
And so now I have the smell good spray box on the top of my mantle. That's also a camera. You might disable my security system. Cut some line outside the house, or I don't know, whatever, some trickery. But like you guys didn't know that I had the stocking that's hanging over my fireplace. That hook actually has a camera in it, and that's separate from everything else. So I gotcha. So like there are legitimate uses for this stuff. It's just like most people are not using them for legitimate purposes.
So what you're saying is the legitimate use justifies them being on a site like Amazon, but the illegitimate use is okay.
Lockpicks.
Yep.
Totally. There's an entire industry based around.
Yeah, you're allowed to pick your own locks. Like
there's locksmiths that you pay to do that for you. So there are people who use them for nefarious purposes as well. And so it's like you can't punish the good guys for people using the stuff in a bad way.
I mean, the biggest problem that I see here, though, is that there's just so many different spy cams, and the technology has gotten so small and so good now that you can literally record like 1080p 60 frames per second video in a low lit room through a pinhole. Through a tiny little pinhole that doesn't even look like a lens. It's not even some of these even have so there's actually cameras on here that are like detection resistant. And you're like, what does that mean? And you click on it and it's like detection resistant. It's like we put a special film over our lens that makes it a matte finish. So if you try to use a laser to expose the reflectivity, because there's devices you can use. You can buy anti-spugging devices that scan for rogue radio waves. So if you have a device that's giving off RF that's not supposed to give off RF, you can sniff it, right? And then you're like, wait a second, why is this wall outlet sending out a 2.4 gigahertz signal, right? If that's the case, then it's a spy cam. They also have, so how do you combat that? You have an internal SD card and you don't have it broadcast, right? Or you have it broadcast only when you ping it first. So it's just listening in a passive mode. And then you tell it when to send you the payload at like 3 a.m. in the morning when you think everybody's sleeping. Then it broadcasts to you and then shuts down its antenna array again, so the sniffer never finds it. If you're trying to find the camera by using one of the devices where you look through an eyelet and it has infrared LEDs flashing, and what it's supposed to do is if there's any tiny reflective surface, it'll make it light up like a star in the sky. So you shine that around the room and it'll expose like cameras in the shadows, like in vents and stuff like that. But the problem is a lot of these new cameras have a film on the lens that specifically absorbs that wavelength of light, so that now you're using your little thing to expose it and it doesn't blink back off of it. And then you're like, oh, I know that's not a camera, when in fact you just looked at the camera. so it's a spy versus spy shit, right? Going back and forth. But yeah, I could not believe how, like, I'd understand if there was like, I remember the spy shops like back in the 90s and stuff. You go walking off the street in the spy shop and they'd have like, pinhole cameras and all kinds of stuff like that. But it was still relatively bulky and there was a pack with a wire connected to it and stuff. I mean, it was like shit that wasn't that easy to conceal.
Right.
Not the case now. You can buy a camera that's literally smaller than one die. One little dice. You can buy a camera that has a battery, a wireless transmitter, and everything all in a dice that you can literally inductively charge and just set on a counter, and it would look like a dice, but it's actually a camera.
Yeah.
That is, so you have to assume now everywhere you go that there is, I mean, I honestly give zero fucks. I really don't, man. If somebody wants to watch me take a piss, I mean, it's your funeral. Like, I really don't care.
Right.
But there are a lot of people that do care, right? There's a lot of people that do care. And so what I would say is if you are staying at an Airbnb or you are staying anywhere, I would make damn sure that the first thing you do when you enter that room is just go around and do like a rudimentary search. Like look in vents with a flashlight, look at the bulbs on the light stands, look at the clock, shine a light directly into it so you can see if anything's hidden behind the panels. Just do a cursory check, because the average person, if they're going to put a spy camera somewhere, they're going to buy like the cheap one and think that it's hidden because they can't see it. So if you're running around and looking at it with a flashlight and stuff, chances are you're going to find it. Like, unless they're like James Bond level of spy and they're spending thousands of dollars, chances are you're going to find their shitty little camera up behind a vent. But check the vents, check the lights, check the toilet. They literally make wireless cameras that go into the toilet bowl that literally look like on the smart toilets, like Japanese smart toilets that are in some, there's even a sensor you can get that looks just like the one that's on the toilet that you put right next to it. And it's basically just looking right up at your butthole. Like, and you can buy that camera and like just take it in there, and it's a Japanese toilet with a bunch of buttons on it and like some water sprayers and electronics, so you'd never question it. You'd be like, oh, there's no way that's a camera. That's just a sensor to see. That's a photo sensor to see if I'm sitting on the toilet, so it doesn't just spray the urinal out into the room. So again, I know this is scary shit to talk about, but this happened to my friend, and who knows, that video, whatever video is recorded on it, if it was live, I'm sure is being traded back and forth on the dark web, you know, between collectors stuff, because obviously they don't want to get caught, right? That's the one thing that you have that is, if they release that, unless it's a hotel room, right, where it's just this homologated thing across multiple rooms. Yeah. You can figure certain shit out from video if you don't know what you're doing. Like they could figure out through the forensics, like where it was, who had access to that room or that property. There's a lot of stuff that would give it away in the video. So the stuff that's being shared, I'm sure, is probably between private collectors and shit, like on the dark web. So the odds of it going public and being out there are probably relatively low right now. But at some point it could happen. Who knows? 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. You know, people start just putting the shit on the internet, or the person dies or trades it with somebody who's not that trustworthy, and then they start posting it all over the web. At some point in time, it'll probably come out. So what I'm saying is we're all porn stars and we don't even know it. That's literally the topic. But I'm hoping that this helps some people. I hope that what happened to my friends can help other people avoid that. And if you do find something like that, do not contact the property manager. Do not because if you contact Airbnb, they're going to tell you to get off the premise immediately and like start threatening you and say, get out of there now. Like they're going to protect you. They won't. Their job is to protect themselves, because if they get wrapped up in that, they're criminally liable, just like the property owner, because they endangered the person who used their service to get that property. So Airbnb in this case, like, oh, we'll buy you new panties. Don't worry about it. They probably got left behind. Oh, you don't need to go back to the property. Oh, don't worry. We got no. There's the property got removed because they found surveillance equipment on the premises, or somebody discovered it and they wanted them out really quick before anybody got in trouble. So because if anybody gets in trouble, they get screwed one way or another. Either the property owner or whatever, they don't get the money, or the customer wants their money back, which in this case they got it back, but normally they wouldn't, right? Airbnb would be like, oh, we'll give you a partial refund, you're on your own. So just realize they're not looking out for you. So the one person you call, if you suspect that, you call the police. That's what you do. You call the cops immediately. Doesn't matter where you are. Doesn't matter if it's a hotel. Doesn't matter if it's a chain. Doesn't matter if it's an Airbnb. If you see something behind a vent, or you see something that appears that it could be a camera, you call the police and you call them immediately. Because if that camera's broadcasting and they're watching you live and they see you discover the camera, the first thing they're going to do is come bang on the door and be like, hey, we need to come into the property, guys. Oh, my boy Michael's showering us for Christmas. Oh my God. Hey, Michael, thank you so much for the $100 Canadian, my brother. He said, Merry Christmas. This is for the beard to take to work and get coffee and treats for a coffee break. Puget has helped me huge. Thank you. And please thank the guys at work. Damn, dude.
Yeah. Hey, you're welcome.
Damn, dude. That's awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Michael.
Thank you. Yeah, that's big news. Thank you.
Super appreciative, sir. Jerry, you need to do a video on this. I actually might. This actually is a topic that I've done enough research on for my buddy that I think that I could make a pretty compelling video. Yeah. But here's the thing that I want to tell you guys is just for you guys. I mean, we'll tell other people later, but what's that?
Just us. It's just for us.
Oh, just for us. So yeah, just for us. Don't tell anybody else. These are secrets, right? We don't want anybody else exposing all the spy cams we've placed over our days. Yeah, by the way, Ox, you better go recover those. like by the end of this video, I better go back and backtrace and make sure I've removed all the ones I've placed all over the place. The problem is the technology is cheap too. Like these spy cams are like 20, 30, $40. Like they're not even as expensive as like a GoPro. It's like they're just cheap Chinese. They have such a weird market. They're not designed for the high-end market. They're designed for just a bunch of creepers and pervs and I guess the 3 legitimate users that are trying to catch their nanny stealing their shit. So, but if you do suspect that you find a camera at a property, first thing you do, lock the doors immediately, because chances are there could be somebody close by watching the broadcast live, because, you know, it's wirelessly transmitted for most of these cameras. Like 90% of them are transmitted, not local recording, because with a local recording, you have to go and unscrew the thing and take it apart and get the memory card out of it. It's too much work and it takes too much time and you can be caught. So they just opt for the ones that wirelessly transmit. So if there's a chance that once you discover it or you look into it and you find it or you pay it any attention, they're going to assume that they've been compromised. So what they're going to do is they're going to try to gain access to the property and say, oh, like a water main burst, or, oh, there's an electrical hazard, or something's wrong. You guys, you need to leave the property for like 15, 20 minutes so we can come in and fix that up. Oh, no, you can't stay here while we're doing it. That's what they're going to do. They're going to do everything they can to try to get out of it. And that's going to be a dangerous situation. So what you do is you lock the door, you call the police. The response time will be fast. The cops will come quick no matter where you're at. They're going to come to you. Do not let anybody in. While you rent that property owner has zero Zero access to that property while that property is contracted to you. That is your private home and you are paying for it at that point in time. They can call the cops if they think you're doing something illegal, but they cannot breach the property or come onto that property legally. So you keep the door locked and you wait for the cops to come. And if the person starts getting violent and banging on the door and trying to unlock it and put in their little codes and stuff like that, just start yelling, you called the cops. The cops will be here shortly. They will run. Because and I will tell you what, you know how you know for sure you found a camera? Is if you look into that fucker and start tinkering with it and pick it up, and then you get a knock on the door like 2-3 minutes later. Like you know. So and they're gonna want to come in and they don't care if they have to shove you out of the way, if they have to rip shit out of the wall. These people are desperate. Because that's a felony. You go to jail for fucking 10, 20 years doing that shit. So they're gonna shove you out of the way if they have to. They're gonna rip that shit out of the wall and try to destroy it. They're gonna do it. They don't care if you catch them or if you testify. They cannot risk that being found by the police.
Yeah.
So you keep them the fuck out of the room and you wait for the cops is what you do. So anyways, FBI investigates cybercrimes. This could fall under that. It could escalate to the FBI, but the police will be the ones that open the case. The FBI doesn't open the cases. Like I've dealt with the FBI multiple times. The only time that they open a case is when it's the local police start it. So okay. I go to my local police, they open up a case, then the FBI gets the case number from the local police and then works with the local police on the case. The FBI will do independent investigations if it's like terrorism or it's something at a federal level. Then they'll come in and investigate without local police support. But usually it starts like from, if it was a crime that happened to you, it would start with your local police. Don't ask me how I know, but I have a lot of experience with working with the local police. Being a YouTuber, unfortunately, at some point does force you to engage the police for stalkers and identity theft and all kinds of shit. So I am very, very familiar and comfortable working with my local police department. And out of all the 14 cases I have open with my local police department over the years, only 1 or 2 of them actually got escalated to the FBI. And the FBI only engaged lightly. And I mean very, very lightly on one, and the other one, they didn't do shit. So literally the only thing they did on the one case was they authorized the local police department to do something that they normally can't do without authorization, to figure out the identity of somebody. And the FBI authorized them to do that, but they didn't even do it themselves. So it's like basically they were just asking the FBI if they could do something that was like a felony for them to do without permission, and the FBI was like, yeah, sure, go for it. And then they did.
Okay.
Martin Drekos, thank you for the 5 what are the E's? That's not pounds, that's euros. Okay, thank you. He said, if I find a spy cam, can I keep it? I think finders keepers rules completely apply here.
Yeah.
And it probably has a backup memory card in it, so maybe you get lucky and you get the footage from the last 3 people that stayed there, right? I mean, as a payment for them recording you. There you go, man. That's what do they call that? Turnabout's fair play?
Yeah, exactly.
Like just you know what would be the greatest? Oh god. How great would it be if you found a spy cam? You put in the memory card and it's literally like the dude is like subletting his own house like during the holidays, and so it's got footage of him. like you steal his camera, and because he's too lazy to ever turn it off because it's like embedded into the wall and it's powered, you literally just get all the footage for like the last week, including him, and then you go upload that shit to the internet.
That's fun.
You're like, hey guys, look, I stayed in an Airbnb and found this cool camera with this cool footage on it. Check it out. Oh, that would be, they deserve it so hard. They deserve it so hard. Miss Liz is like, lol. But yeah, I feel bad for my buddy though, but at the same time, I'm glad that they got off the property. The only thing I wish they had it done, and I told him this, is they tried to get access to the property again, but the property owner refused. Is I wanted them to go back to the property and take that panel off and look behind it. Like I wanted them to actually go in there and like, get a stool or get a table and stand on top and like take that thing down and give it a good look, because that would at least give them some peace of mind. Because if they looked up there and it was just like, an LED blue bulb that was designed as like a mood lighting thing or something. But again, keep in mind, it was up in the duct. It wasn't on the vent. That's what made it suspicious. If it was a night light on the vent, then okay, I've seen those. But it was a blue light emanating from up in the duct. Like, why would there be a blue LED in the duct?
Yeah.
That didn't make any sense.
Weird.
So to me, that screams like memory card full or something like that. And it's something that they didn't notice the first like day or two that they were there. They noticed it on the 3rd day. They thought it was kind of suspicious, but they didn't do anything about it. They were like, oh, whatever,
Yeah.
It's probably nothing. But then once and the reason they were probably told to get off the premises because the dude probably realized that the camera ran out of memory or something like that, and the blue light was on. Or there was some kind of warning, like it wasn't broadcasting anymore or something like that, and he freaked the hell out and was like, he probably called Airbnb and was like, get him off my property now, but they'll never know because Airbnb won't tell him.
Yeah. Thanks, Kenneth, for $4.99.
Thank you, sir. He said, hope you had a great Xmas. Still cleaning the bomb that exploded in my living room. I know, dude. Oh my gosh. Xander got so many presents. Like we got him like, I want to say we got him like 5 things. The internet got him like 20.
Oh,
like
you guys are great.
Yeah, because we posted his Amazon wish list. This is the second year we've done it.
That's
and
cool.
so when he's opening stuff, it's like, it's just so cool. We get to sit back and he is just flabbergasted. And we tell him it's from the internet. So he knows. Cool. We're like, hey, these are from the internet. He thinks it's just the greatest thing ever. But yeah, he had an amazing Christmas. He got, and the cool thing about my son is he doesn't need the PlayStation 5. He doesn't need the $5,000 toy. It's like, he's just as impressed with a $5 toy as he is a $500 toy. Like he doesn't care. Value to him he doesn't care about the money. He doesn't care about resale value or any of that shit. He's just like, is it fun? Like one of his favorite toys was one of you guys or one of my Patreons got him a little RC car. Like this little like RC car that like has the wheels can articulate. So if you run into a wall, it just keeps flipping around. Like basically you can't get it stuck. And my son, every one of his RC vehicles, he gets stuck. He cannot get this one stuck. He just races it around the house and bangs it into everything. He played with it yesterday, like 80% of the day. Like I heard that thing chasing the cats around, going up and down the walls. I even had to go. It was a blast. He loves it so much. And things like kinetic sand and the science toys and stuff, the STEM stuff. Oh, he just absolutely adores it. So, but everything, like he even opens a book and he just gets like so excited about it. I remember when I was a kid, I'd open a book and be like, man, I got to read this. No, my son loves reading and he loves stories. He opens up the books and he's like, oh my gosh, I know this book. I love this book.
Yeah. Oh, that's good.
Yeah, one of them was like, so was it Santa Bob or Santa Bill? Santa something that's about like this cranky character that plays all these different roles in the book series. My son has a couple of them already.
Oh, neat.
And he looked at it and he was like, oh my God, we got to read this tonight. This is so amazing. He's like, he's going to be the grumpiest Santa ever. And I just like, oh my gosh, I just love it. So I was literally, unfortunately though, yesterday, it made me sad because I wasn't able to watch him open all of his presents because since I broke my foot, I couldn't sleep. So I was in and out of consciousness all morning. And so I wasn't finally like up and able to like comprehend my existence until about noon. And by that time he'd opened like 3 or 4 of his presents. But then I went out on the couch and elevated my foot and was able to watch him open the rest. And it was really special. Santa Bruce. That's what it was. Santa Bruce.
Nice.
I love Santa Bruce. It's a cool book too. It's a huge book too. It's like, I didn't even know they made big books like that anymore, but it's huge. That's a Bad Step RC car. Is that what it's called? It's badass is what it is, man. Oh, James actually got a good one for us to chase the segue off of the spy cam stuff.
Sure.
He said, oh, by the way, I just want to ask one more thing before we end on that subject. If you guys ever do find a spy cam, like legit find a spy cam though, please contact me, like tag me on Twitter or something, get my attention, because I'd love to hear the story. Because this is something that I may very well make a video on, because I think that this is something that not a lot of people talk about, because one, it's an uncomfortable topic for a lot of people. But I think that actually putting out a video that explains like how this shit works and how to discover it and everything to kind of pull the veil back will have 2 impacts. That is, one, I think if it gets popular enough, it'll deter people from doing it because they'll have a higher risk of being caught, right? Sure. If everybody goes in is looking for this shit, they're going to think twice before doing it. So that's one fold. And then second fold, anybody that does have the balls to try to do something like this, the people are equipped with what they need to find it and expose it. And the more people that we see in the news getting caught and thrown in jail for this shit, the less frequently it's going to occur. So let's actually try to make a difference is what I'm going for. Now the question is, what do we think about? So what do we feel about games being released broken and needing updates of like 50 gigabytes? I would rather the game be delayed and not have a broken product. A game really is only good once. What do you actually? Yeah, I'd love to hear. Like, I mean, he's obviously talking about Cyberpunk, but he's also kind of segueing off Fallout. I mean, Fallout 76. Sure. What's the one where you fly around space to the procedurally generated planets? No Man's Sky. Yeah, No Man's Sky. Sure. I mean, like what I know what I think about all this, and it's a pretty strong opinion, but what do you think about like this whole mentality of release a game, even if it's like barely alpha, let everybody just fucking chuck their head against the wall, lose their save games, corrupt files, can't play through the goddamn story, and then later on they have to download the game basically again 2 or 3 times over, eating up all their bandwidth and all their time so they can finally fucking play through it once they're already burned out and mad at the game. No hate. I
have different opinions depending on the level of brokenness. So as an example, people like to pick on Bethesda for their broken and buggy games. I think they got better, especially, Fallout and the Elder Scrolls stuff, right? The Oblivion, Fallout 3, blah blah blah, Skyrim, all the funny stuff. So this kind of comes back to part of what we've discussed about the difference between bugs and like glitches or whatever. So like in the case of Bethesda, yeah, their early games were buggy and somewhat broken. I give them and Cyberpunk and CD Projekt Red in this because early. So let me go over this a little bit. CD Projekt Red, this is the first time they've done a first-person RPG. They very clearly made their own engine for it. I think it pops up on a splash screen at the beginning of the game. It's called Red Engine. I'm willing to give them some flexibility because this is the first time they've done something like this. This is the first time and I imagine there's a lot of systems at play that are not jiving well, right? So I'm willing to give them a little bit of leeway. In the case of No Man's Sky, that was a clear and blatant like mismatch of the expectation that they set and the product they delivered. I feel like that's not necessarily the case with Cyberpunk. It's unoptimized, sure. It's not, but it still delivers all of the like features and functionality that they had at least mentioned and that we've seen that I know about. I'm sure I'm missing it because I wasn't that deep.
That's a fair point. That is a fair point that they do like when you watch the trailers of the games, even years leading up to it, like it looks like you can do what they. I mean, bugs aside, it looks like yes, it is possible if everything lines up and you don't hit these weird bugs that you can complete that.
So now the question is, should we have waited longer? Should they have delayed the game? No, I think they could not. I get the feeling that they had to release it when they did. I don't think they should have released it on the previous gen consoles. I think that was a huge shot in the foot for them.
Yeah.
That was a humongous mistake. That hurt their reputation a lot. That hurt just that section of the market. Now, see, that's not fair. It's bad development. No, you don't know what they've had to go through. You don't know what it takes to. I mean, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you are a game developer professional who knows exactly what went into making this game.
I know
maybe
everything.
You work for CD Projekt Red, but I feel like that's really, really unfair to say that it's bad development, bad project management, maybe. But
I don't blame the developers. Just to be clear on that, I do not blame the developers at all.
You can't put that at the feet of the grunts. Cyberpunk reminds me of Duke Nukem Forever. Not even close. Not even close. Duke Nukem Forever was 20-something years of talk, and it went through 3 different developers and publishers and stuff. Duke Nukem Forever is an example of vaporware and garbage and broken promises for decades.
Half-Life
3, yeah.
Jinx. We were all thinking it, man. We were all thinking it.
Yeah, and so look. Yes, I don't know. I haven't had hardly any problems with Cyberpunk myself, and I'm on modest hardware. I have a 1080 Ti, I have a 7700K, 32 gigs of RAM. It's on an SSD. I think they did fine. It worked out fine for me. I think a lot of the problems that people are having is a mismatch of expectation. People think, oh, well, I have all this super great hardware. It should run like butter. And are unwilling to give some flexibility to a company who is great. Like the CD Projekt Red is they
have a really good relations with customers and a really good track record of game development, better than most companies.
Dude, the Witcher 3, they gave out how much free content? Like a whole nother game's worth of content, hundreds of hours.
I still haven't played it, but people say it's fucking amazing.
DLC content. It's pretty good. It's a great third-person action RPG. Cool, and you have to be smart about your combat and stuff. You can't just hack and slash. You have to dodge and play around. And
I've heard that button mashing gets you nowhere. It's actually built around not allowing you to do that.
Yeah, you gotta play the game, and that's really cool. So yeah, see, Cryptic Dan, I'm running Cyberpunk on a 1060. He's got to put it on low, medium, but he's getting pretty decent FPS. That's pretty damn good. I have to play on medium. I have to turn off a bunch of the ambient occlusion and the motion blur and all that garbage stuff that nobody likes anyway. But I feel like we've gotten to a point where, and I do feel like this is a minority, but they're very vocal minority who put their expectation on a pedestal. They feel like they were robbed because this thing that they were hoping and praying and put so much of their emotional attachment into didn't meet their expectation. That's your fault. I'm sorry, but the reason that I'm okay with Cyberpunk 2077 and the way that it functions, it doesn't bother me, is because I didn't build this thing up into this big, like, super game that was going to be the best fucking thing in the whole world because that's marketing told us. Like, I'm sorry that you disappointed yourself in this. I went into this game with little expectation of what it was going to be. I'm accepting it for what it is at this moment, and I'm having a good time with it. The few graphical glitches that I've had are funny, are just kind of interesting, and I can see where it would take people out of their immersion. Like, I shouldn't be seeing trees that ought to be 400 yards away popping in front of textures that are like closer, right?
Yeah.
It's weird vegetable shit like that doesn't, it shouldn't happen, but it does. But like, surely bugs should be ironed out before release. You can't have 100% bug free. I imagine they ironed out what they could, and they are unable to. You have infinite combinations of hardware that you have to write software for that is supposed to work flawlessly across everybody's fucking like combinations. That's impossible. That is an outrageous expectation to have as a consumer. That's why you're disappointed in the game.
Is it though? Like think back to like console games where it's like you buy something on CD and you don't have an internet connection. That shit's just got to be right out of the gate.
So that's not fair. Those games are infinitely less complex. Super Mario Bros. Has 3 inputs and like 2 different collision detections. It fits on less than 100K. Like, that's not fair. Those systems, and that's where we get a lot of these problems, is we have complex systems built into these games that are producing unexpected results. I
do have a slight counter for that, though. Being a career software developer myself, keep in mind that on those systems, they were working with way more limited resources, which means that the code had to be so much more highly optimized and vetted. Sure. Even though they may have been simpler things compared to games today, developers can be shit fucking loads more lazy today. Like in Cyberpunk, you can literally just say, oh, fucking render the nipples on those boobies and then put a texture over the top of it, even though you never see them. And don't optimize the switch between them because that's too much code and too much work. Back in the day, you couldn't have done that on a PlayStation. You'd have to do the texture swapping and make it fluid.
Sure. And so Chaos brings up this is a bad argument to be bringing up. He says, would you have the same view if Windows 10 was as buggy where it posed a security risk and no class it as bad development where it impacts it directly? Would you probably care more? An operating system is not a video game.
It's not a video game. Yeah, I have to agree. I have to agree with Ox on that.
Banking software. Right? Like if QuickBooks is released with a bunch of security, and there's a difference between a game having a bug and a piece of software having a security breach.
Yeah.
I'm not putting my credit card information into Cyberpunk. I would be hella pissed if the Epic Game Store had a security flaw that exposed my banking. Right?
Absolutely.
Epic has never made a game store before, but I have a certain expectation that if you're going to produce a storefront, regardless, a brand new store opens up across the street, I expect that they're going to protect my banking information. Yeah. I don't expect a video game to do that.
Games don't run at elevated permission either. Like if you're playing a game that requires elevated permission, that's a big red flag. Like they're sandboxed on purpose.
And again, there is no reason to expect a game to be completely flawless. That is outrageous.
Oh, I would never have that expectation. Just to let you know, that wasn't even my expectation of like Pac-Man back in the day, right? Bugs exist no matter what. I'm just saying that back then, because they have the crutch of the internet and unlimited bandwidth, they choose to ship, and Microsoft does it with Windows too. They choose to ship a bug knowing that they can fix it later and push it down to the users, and the people that buy it will have to tolerate that experience and won't know about it on day one. Because let's be honest. If Cyberpunk came out and they literally published a 5,000 page document that said, here's all of our open bugs that have not been resolved thus far that we will be focusing on in the patching over the next 2 years. How many people do you think would buy that game with a 5,000 bug list where like 25% of them would actually end or corrupt your file or fuck your game or prevent? You would not buy it. They don't tell you on purpose, because once you buy it, then it's just update hell from there on out. And it's too much of a pain in the ass to get a refund, if at all. So you tolerate it, and they're hoping to win you over in the long run. Case in point, GTA 5 was the biggest steaming pile of fucking shit ever when it came out. I remember playing that game on Xbox 360, and I was like, my God, this is a shitty fucking buggy game.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. If you got to talk,
No,
to
they're fine. I think my lady.
So,
friend.
total bull fucking shit game. Like I was so mad. I was throwing the controller and shit because stuff was not working right and the performance was garbage. Fast forward a couple years after they patched it, new graphics patches, new content, fixed missions and everything. The fucking thing is like a magnum opus today. Like, honestly, GTA 5 in campaign mode is probably one of the most stable games I've ever played now. It's like the launcher is the problem now, not the game. It's the social launcher that 90% of my... Once you're in the game, you're pretty much good to go for the most part. And that was all through a series of patching. How much patching was there? Over the course of when it first came out to now, I bet you downloaded a terabyte of fucking GTA patches if you bought it on day one, like for 360 and evolved and installed the new versions of the updates and everything like that.
And again, that does say... I do agree that developers in a general way and publishers, I think, are probably the more guilty party here, is that there is a lot more sloppiness. There is that attitude of like, oh, we can fix it later.
Yeah.
As long as we can get the game to run and people can get through most of the content, we can fix other stuff later. And that's unfortunate, but...
And don't think they didn't know about a lot of these bugs. They absolutely knew about. They probably even knew about the corruption bugs. There's no way a developer doesn't understand that over 8 gig or whatever, you're going to have a corruption issue. Yeah, if that's the max size that you thought the file could get to. So they have these bugs internally. They just chose not to fix them because when they did a cost benefit analysis, and this is the important one, cost benefit is they're like, if we go live right now before Christmas, everybody's going to buy this motherfucker on Christmas for their kids and their friends, and everybody's going to buy it because Christmas is the spending season. November and December are the two highest spending years for consumer products. January and February are the lowest. So when you think about that, if they slipped the launch by even a month, it literally, they would have sold 1/100th of the copies probably. So they had to release for Christmas. That's the marketing guys, though. I guarantee you the developers were like, guys, we have fucking 10,000 open bugs that we found internally that are bad. And I guarantee the marketing department kicked back and was like, work 24 hours a day, start with priority 0 and work your way up. And whatever you fucking end up with, that's our day one patch.
Yeah. And
just fucking send it. And I guarantee you that they were shitting in their pants because every single one of them knew exactly how this was going to turn out.
And I think too, the move or the shift away from physical media has introduced some of that sloppiness.
Yep.
That's why you're having these day 1, day 0 patches. Like the game is unlocked, and then you also, it's not just downloading the game, but it's also the patch.
Yep. Well, here it's so let me say a couple of points here from a developer perspective. Okay, this is why I don't blame the developers. Developers have a finite amount of time and a finite amount of resources, and they can only do what they can do. Developers aren't magical, right? They can make a projection as to how long it'll take to do something, but when there's so many fucking variables, like an open world sandbox game, when there's that many variables in a game, it is theoretically impossible for you to exercise every scenario. There's not enough unit tests or testing in the world that could test that entire thing. So I will concede that there are a lot of bugs in there that the developers never hit themselves. But here's the clear mistakes that they made, and these are the ones I will hold them wholly accountable for. As one, like you said, they never should have released on next gen on last gen console. But I'm also going to argue they never should have released the last gen console version for next gen consoles, because there's less bugs hit on PS5 and PS4, but it's still a way higher frequency of bugs and performance issues than they're seeing on PC. And the company themselves even said that they did almost all of their testing on PC because they were running out of time and they couldn't test and dev across. They just hoped that if they fixed it on PC, it'd fix it on everything else.
And I agree. They definitely should not have done they should have done a staggered release where it came out on PC first, and then 6 months later come out on console. They would have been roasted alive for it. They would have lost hell of sales for it. And I'm sure they had some sort of deal where they had to release it at the same time.
What happens if an investor pulls out if they have a hard limit, right? And I think that was the case that happened. If they don't release, the investor can literally say that we have something in the clause that says if you do not release on this date, we're going to take fucking $40 million a day until you do release down to zero, and then you owe us money. Like there are clauses like that in contracts. They're burn down. They call them burn down clauses or whatever, where it's like where it applies pressure and you have to produce something where now the cost benefit analysis for the managers are like, listen, if we release now, we risk having a 20% refund rate. But if we don't release now, we risk losing all of the revenue to the investors, and then we can't recover at all. So the less of two evils was selected. I am sure of it. But here's the biggest problem that I see with this whole thing going down is let's assume that like GTA 5, that the game is successful enough that it gets a chance to be patched over the years and it becomes a magnum opus. Yeah, I think it could. I think it legitimately
I think so.
Could become the most like literally, I know people say don't compare it to GTA 5, but how can you not? It's an open world fucking game where you drive around in cars and blow shit up. Like it's fucking GTA 5, but with better graphics and better story. Well, arguably. But anyways, let's say that they can make it perfect. Here's the problem that you have now is because they released early and it is so fucking buggy. I mean, it is absolutely like beyond what you would consider average bugginess. This is like, it is thoroughly and properly fucked for like most people. Unless you have a PC with a decent CPU and a decent graphics card, you are going to hit all these fucking timing issues over and over and over again. And especially on the consoles where like the texture load times aren't even there, right? Like you walk up to people and they look like they're putty for like 5 seconds, right? And then the texture loads, that's fucking weird.
I've encountered that a lot. Like the first 30 seconds to 45 seconds, like it's a lot of like pop, pop, pop.
Even on PC?
Pop. Oh yeah.
Oh, that's fucked, dude.
It's weird. It's like a caching thing. It's like I can tell when I'm going into a new like chunk or whatever, however they're breaking up the world. Cause it gets just a little bit chunky, a little bit sluggish, and then it's like, okay. And I don't know if it's like a VRAM thing. Like, I mean, it's 11 gigs on the fucking 1080 Ti, so I should be pretty good there. But yeah, like especially when I first load a save, and if I run up to somebody within like the first minute or so, it's like smudged out and blurred.
See, that's gotta be vetted. That oh my god.
And I don't know, man. I feel like I really, really feel like the console side of things is what fucked them up.
It did.
They should have completely focused on PC to begin with, released it only on PC for a year while they in the background were fixing the consoles. And then they could have released solely on PS5 and the new Xbox. They could have left the previous gen behind.
But here's the thing now. They're probably now I'm not going to see CD Projekt Red's a big company. They're a big company. They lost half their fucking market share though with this one game release.
I saw about that.
But this is what I'm worried about now. This is the thing that where this kind of trumps everything is you'd normally assume that they're going to have time to fix the game and then you're going to get a game that doesn't have bugs in it. How is that going to happen when there's 4 class action lawsuits and the investors are suing the company for all the revenue and they're ultimately going to be forced to downsize, lay off developers, lay off management, which is going to slow the patching of the game, going to slow down sales, and they basically just starve out. They're not going to be able to fix all these bugs and make this game perfect, as flawed as it is right now, unless they have all the resources they can get. And now you have the investors just literally trying to shut it down and kill it now.
I don't think they're going to get very. I don't think like I'm looking up who's suing them and stuff.
It's mostly the investors.
It seems one investor in particular is suing over the console side of things. That they were misled on how terrible it was for the current generation. This is PS4 and Xbox, whatever. I don't think. And like I guess there's an article here that says CD Projekt Red says that the PS4 and Xbox One version was ignored, and
dude, look at the return rate too. Did you see that? Like not just console, but even PC. Like PC, and a bunch of PC guys are returning it.
I think that's bullshit. Honestly, I don't know. It's a very much a No Man's Sky problem.
It is.
In a big way. I think they're catching more shit than they ought to. I think it's the reaction is a little extreme. But man, yeah, the thing is like whoever, I don't know, for me, I get suing over the console thing. Totally makes sense. That's super fucked up. You should get your money, whatever piece of the pie that you feel are entitled to. But like to sue for the rest of it, I think is unfair.
I mean, no game has generated
frankly,
as much hype as this, though, in history. So they got that going for them, that no matter how buggy it is, everybody on Earth, even people that don't game, know what Cyberpunk 2077 is. And
I'm the kind of guy who would be in it for the long haul. I feel like, yeah, this is a stumble, but again, this is kind of the first time they're doing this.
Yeah.
And a certain amount of rocky start is to be expected. 8 years, blah, blah, blah. Oh, they've been at this forever. How much has technology changed in 8 years? AMD is now the top dog in CPUs. Like, and they're catching up on GPUs. Nobody would have expected that 6 years ago,
right?
5 years ago.
I'm even shocked.
The original release of Ryzen was 6 years ago, right? 5-6 years ago.
You know what shocks me more is that Intel did not have a response for it. Like Intel completely got caught with their pants down around their ankles. I never would have saw that coming ever.
I feel like this is going to hurt, but they'll recover. I don't think it's going to destroy CD Projekt Red by any means. Their reputation is tarnished a little, but it'll definitely be a similar trajectory as No Man's Sky. No Man's Sky is fucking great now. It took them a few years, sure, but the people who stuck with it, and maybe they could have done better with an early access sort of thing.
Dude, CD Projekt Red stock on December 7th was $98. Today it's $61.
Dude, I'm buying.
And still falling.
I'm buying.
So you might want to wait just a little while longer.
Dude, I'm seeing it. Oh, wait, this might be somebody else. CD Projekt 4 ADR representing oh, that's somebody else. That might be somebody else.
Now, to be fair, actually, hold on. There's one thing you do need to account, though, is that it was back in November 2nd. It was only $76. So it really peaked coming up to release, which would be expected, right? Everybody expected this to be a blockbuster and take the world by storm. And then it crashed after that because of the debacle. But just to let you know, I mean, their lowest that they've ever been over the last year is $55. So they haven't hit their lowest point. They were literally March 12th. They were $48.
Yeah.
So
what's the ticker?
Oh, the ticker. This is going to be let's see here, XFRA7CD. It's not traded on US market.
Oh, okay.
So just do a search on Bing for CD Projekt Red stock and it'll pop up.
I'm not searching on Bing, Jerry.
Dude, Bing is the best.
Stop trying to make Bing happen,
dude.
Man.
Bing is fucking awesome. They buy me every month searching for porn. I get free coffee. So I can't think of any other search engine that gives me free coffee for searching for porn. So
yeah,
I'm just saying, bro.
I'm down. Man, because it'll get better. Honest.
To see, and that's my fear, dude, is I think that shit's just getting so big and it's getting so the productions are just getting so fucking out of hand and so expensive and so long and so crazy that the amount of money that they need is like Titanic level. And so when big shit like this happens, they get robbed of the opportunity to finish it the way it should have been because they couldn't hang on a little longer and go for the slow burn sale. Like they still would have sold the same amount of copies even if they didn't sell in December if it was solid. It would take longer and it'd be over time, but they would move the product. People would want to play it. But it just scares. This is what happens though and this doesn't just happen. Just to let you guys know, this does not just happen with software. This happens with hardware too. Everybody has to hit November, December for sales. They have to. Same thing with consoles. Like the Xbox One X has got, Series X, because Xbox can't name their shit. The Xbox, so many fucking kids got an Xbox One and it's like, what the fuck is this? So Xbox Series X is both a good console, but it's also a steaming pile of fucking buggy shit from what I've been reading. The PlayStation 5, tons of fucking weird bugs where shit just crashes and the console just reboots for like no fucking good reason. They're mostly software issues though, it seems. But keep in mind that these are consoles that like they can't miss the holiday season. They sell 100 times more product when they hit November and December because of Christmas and because of the spending and consumerism around these 2 months. That they are forced no matter what. Like they will cut shit. Like the same thing with everybody was saying Cyberpunk story's too short. They're like, man, the story's too short. Well, you know why? I watched a video. There's a guy who already figured it out. There's like a whole nother storyline in the game that completely got fucking cut out. A huge significant part of this. They went through the binaries And they found out that he has like a fucking kingpin mansion up on top of a skyscraper that to get to, you have to glitch the game.
I saw something about that.
Yeah, and it was supposed to be a whole nother storyline. They found assets and everything, dude. There's new weapons, new cars, everything that they found that all got dereferenced last minute in the game.
Nah, so I think Stealthy SW says, oh, and they'll sell at full price, or I don't know what that might be referring to. But if you mean like expansions and stuff, I bet anything that they didn't put in the full release will come out for free. CD Projekt Red did a bunch of that shit for Witcher 3. I think they had two paid expansions and then like 6 free DLC stuff with like 3 or 4 of them had full on quest lines and stuff.
I'll make you a gentleman's bet on that. I bet I'll bet you exactly the opposite. I bet you that they will not be able to release it free, even though they intended to, because of the massive degradation in stock and because of the lawsuits and the legal fees and shit that they're facing and the time that they need to fix the game. I think that to recoup that money to be able to continue moving forward, they will have to switch to DLC.
I think some of it, because again, like they did with Witcher 3, they did.
Oh, was there some DLC for it?
There was 2 or 3 of them that were paid for $20 or something.
Oh, okay. So
$25.
You're saying that they will give you like what was intended, and then the DLC will be still the extra.
I do think they will. Whatever was missing from launch will come out for free, and they'll probably say so. They'll probably come out and admit, "Hey, this should have been there to begin with." Or like, or, they'll acknowledge some of the stuff that people are talking about, like, this mansion was missing, or blah blah blah. They'll definitely put out free content to expand on what's already been put out. I
actually agree with that. I think that's fair.
They'll definitely have some paid DLC too, for sure.
If they try to sell the mansion, though, I'm calling bullshit. If they come out with a paid DLC for you to use that fucking mansion that's already in game that many people found, I'm gonna call bullshit on it. But as long as they give you what part of the story was missing and they add it back in logically, like so that you can go back through campaign again and experience that arc, then that's cool. Like I consider that actually, like, because it would have been smart to pull it out if it was so fucking broken it was impossible to fix it. And I think that they ran into problems like that. Honestly, there were certain things in the game that were just like fucking they had to go back and retool engine mechanics. Right. To fix it. And here's the problem. Like, let me go into dev land a little, the developer land. I'm not a game developer. However, I have developed games. I have made games. Sure. So I understand the concept of world loop and logic and physics and all that, Unity and Unreal 4 engine. I understand how the shit works. But as a developer, I can tell you about the process and where bugs become way harder to fix. So one of the things you'll notice when you're playing through Cyberpunk, and I've watched a lot of YouTube videos on it. Again, I'm not playing Cyberpunk until it's solid because I played Fallout 76. It ruined it. I couldn't play it again. I played No Man's Sky. By the time it was all fixed and I played it, I was like, this is kind of cool, but the novelty was gone. Like I am going to wait and properly enjoy this game because I've waited a long time for it. So, but on that note, from a developer perspective, there's 2 ways that you can fix bugs inside of games, okay? And there's the hot fix, which is to go in and do a patch that basically makes you a wizard to bend something to do something it's supposed to against the world's laws and physics. And that's like a hot patch, right? You just go in there and you just like put some super glue on it, make it look good, right? Oh, Jackie's hovering in the air. Okay, fucking move him over 20 units or whatever. If he's here, move him 20 units over here. Boom, the bug's fixed that you never notice, right? You're playing the game. It's the same to you. But because the reason they have to do that is because if they go figure out where the physics bug is and they fix the physics bug, that affects the entire world when you fix it that high in the stack, which means you might fix Jackie in that place. And now everywhere else where it looks right, now it doesn't look right anymore because now those things have to apply to the proper physics of the world, which you ended up creating them to apply to the fucked up physics of the world in the first place. Yeah. So this is something that basically just there's a term for it that's slipping my head right now, but it's basically like hot fix hell. Is what it is. Like you chase one fix with another fix and another fix. Like you can patch a whole bunch of little things, or you can fix the fundamental issue that fixes everything, but then you have to go back and unpatch everything that was patched. And that is, for an open sandbox game like that, that's fucking impossible. Yeah. And just to be clear here, to make a game like Cyberpunk, like no shit, I used to be a full stack developer. Not so much anymore. But I can tell you right now, developing an operating system is more compartmentalized than creating Cyberpunk. like an open world game where you have a physics engine that is tracking that many things at once and having them all seamlessly work together is a fucking feat that like you can't even like comprehend in your head how difficult it is to pull something like that off and have it actually be able to run on a computer. Like
Right.
without it being like a rendered simulation, right? Like people say it's not optimized. It definitely isn't final optimized, but it is optimized. Otherwise, you'd be getting less than 1 frame a second. Because think about like how the world loop works in a game. You build up on a mechanic, right? Where is the player? Render the things that are closest to the player in the highest quality, then render the things that are further away from the player in a different quality, and then eventually render it out to fucking potato. Where you can't see it off in the distance and it's blurred anyways, right? This is how games do it, because there's no way to render the entire world at once. You don't have enough memory in your computer, CPU or GPU to pull that off. So Cyberpunk has to figure out how to do stuff like this. So they have to do tricks. They have to do hacks. These are not things that work within the physics world. Like textures, for instance. If you walk up to a character and a character has clothing on, like if you unload the nipples that are on the mannequin to put the clothing on, there could be a blink there. There could be a frame of animation where that transition is seen and it breaks the wall. So instead they put the texture over the top of the nipples and they load it ahead of time off screen so that when it comes on the screen, you don't see it, right? But there's an optimization problem because now they're stacking textures. You're using up memory and you're using up rendering space to render pixels that you're then going to draw over the top of. There's a lot of that going on in Cyberpunk. And the reason that that's going on is because each time that they optimize the engine to do the texture swaps so that you don't have a stack of textures, you end up uncovering a million other bugs throughout the world, especially when there's delays in loading times. So when they just opt to say, fuck optimization, just load all the textures, stack them on top of each other, and you're going to get lower frame rates, but you're going to have less of a chance of seeing a continuity break.
And that's what I mean when I say like we ought to give them some credit here, some leeway.
There is credit.
I don't know if they had to build a whole new engine or they just tweaked the one that they used with Witcher 3 or whatever, but this is a brand new space for them. This is something that they've never done before. And again, there's all these complex systems rubbing up against each other, and there's no way to predict everything that could possibly happen. All these weird, like I haven't had any crash to desktop errors, like bugs, right? Nothing that has completely halted my progress, except one where Jackie didn't load, like his character, some trigger didn't occur to progress a quest, and he wasn't there to talk to. I just reloaded the previous save, poof, and it fixed. Problem solved. No big deal. And that's something I encounter all the time in great games. Like you'll not hit the right box. There's like an invisible square somewhere that I happen to be able to walk around, and the quest didn't load. It happens. And like,
but again, that's you know why that bug occurs is because somebody did not adhere to the physics of the world to load that content, because there was some bug they couldn't explain that was too big and too risky to fix. So they're just like, fuck it, put a point here that's invisible, and when he hits that, then do the transition off of that instead of triggering off the actual physics of the world. And because you have those patches all over the place, some are going to work better than others. But anytime they fix a physics bug with the world, they're going to domino. They call them regressions, right? So they're basically going to regress every bug that they fix. They're going to regress 100 other patches that worked around that bug in the first place. Because one thing developers have, especially when you get groups, and there's a lot of people working on this game. I haven't seen the credit roll, but I'm guessing it's in the hundreds to 1,000. When you deal with a bunch of developers working on the same project, what happens, developers have to make decisions when they're writing their code. They make a decision of, okay, if I find a bug in the engine, do I wait for them to fix the engine, or do I patch around it and proceed? And if they have to wait for a fix in the engine, then they're sitting there wasting their time, and so it's better for them in most cases just say, fuck it, work around the engine flaw, put in a hacky way to do it, and then that triggers and it works with reliability. But then the problem is later down the road when the physics guys get around to fixing the physics bug, now your hack ends up going from fixing the problem to creating a new problem.
Yep.
And that happens all the time, not even just in games. That happens in the OS. Like, honestly, when I was at Microsoft, I filed somewhere in the order of 900 and some bugs personally. Those were bugs that I annotated, took pictures of, put into the system, and followed them through and worked with the developers to either fix or throw away. And the most common cause for won't fix, which is like, we're not fixing the bug, isn't that the bug doesn't exist. It isn't that the bug isn't reproducible. It's we literally cannot fix the bug with confidence that we're not going to create an even worse bug.
Oh, sure.
And that happens all the time. Like, you find shit inside of Windows, like you'll find bugs that have been there for like 10 years that you can still reproduce, but they don't cause data loss, and they're mildly annoying. You're like, why don't you fix that? Because it would require you to fix a bug in a control that 5,000 other things in third-party software are already patched around. Yeah. So if you fix that core fundamental rendering thing with that specific control, I'm looking at you, MDI. But if you fix that MDI bug, you would ultimately fucking destroy like thousands of pieces of third-party software that implement that control and have already implemented the recommended workaround. So because of that, you end up in this weird, now I remember, it's called integration hell.
Oh, okay.
So integration hell is what developers talk about when everybody writes a piece of code that seemingly works flawlessly, and then you put it all together in the same sandbox and everybody's fucking broken. And then everybody's finger pointing each other going, oh, fucking whose bug is it? Like, is it my bug for hacking around it? Is your bug for not fixing the physics? Like, if your physics breaks because of my hack, is it my fault that I hacked it because I had to in the first place because your fucking bug? And it just becomes this big recursive fight back and forth to figure out whose problem it is. And a lot of that arguing basically leads to hacks winning out because hacks are the easiest way to fix something. Like if you got to fix, like I said, if you got to fix Jackie moving 20 points to the left so he's sitting in the chair, do you go fix the whole physics engine and then retest every fucking like pixel of the world to make sure it's working right? Or do you just fix Jackie because everything else seems to be okay? Right? Like just fix that one anomaly, because why go retool the engine and risk regressing 1,000 bugs and breaking everybody's saved games that they have right now when you could just tell Jackie to just move the fuck over a couple feet, buddy? Like, it's really that simple when you get down to game development. And the problem is we have so much resources in computers nowadays that developers can be piss all lazy. That's what I was talking about earlier. Like, you said the technology wasn't that good back in the day. Well, keep in mind that, like, writing a game for, say, the Atari 2600 was actually pretty difficult because you only had, like, so many bytes of memory. And so you had to constantly context switch stuff in and out of the registers, putting it back into storage, pulling it out of storage. I mean, there were so many little hacks that you had to do to even just get more than a couple colors on the screen, right?
Right.
And nowadays, you don't have to do that. You have so much memory and so much GPU. I can literally open up Unreal, fucking pull out a model with 1 million polygons in it, fucking throw 10 textures on it, dragging and dropping the mouse, and I have a fucking gigabyte model. It's like a gigabyte of data, more than any game on any console in the past or whatever, just tied up in this model that's moving around. And then I drag that into the world and start applying fucking inverse schematics to it to do like Mortal Kombat moves. And at the end of the day, it's like half of your game was like graphics artists drag and dropping assets into a world and positioning and moving cameras using like procedural loops and shit, like writing Swift, like the equivalent of Swift code, right? Just put numbers in boxes. And because of that, and you have to build a world like that. Could you imagine building a world like Cyberpunk or GTA 5 in code? You couldn't do it. There'd be no fucking way. You have to have a way to actually look at that world and be like, grab a building and put it there and move it to the left. You can't go in there and say fucking coordinates, this, drop texture, this edge here, whatever, cos, cosine, tangent. Like, no, you would never, ever in a million years be able to build a world that rich. So the way that they build open sandbox games like Cyberpunk and GTA 5 is they literally have a full rendering of the entire world. The entire world, every little texture, every map, every vehicle, its starting point, everything is placed on that, and that's the golden model that's in the engine. And they make their own engine. I don't think they use Unreal, right? They use their own engine?
No, it's their own, yeah.
So if it's their own engine, they basically create, the very first thing they do before creating the game is they create basically a camera app that lets them navigate and place shit in the world. So it basically just makes them God mode. They can go around just like SimCity and just place assets and stick them together and shit. And then once they build that world and that world is finalized, then what the developers do is they create the engine does this too, but they create the code that basically loads in just the part of the world that's visible to the camera. And then as you're rotating around and as you're progressing through the world, it's taking out the piece behind you and putting in the piece in front of you, so to speak. It's a little more complicated than that in an open sandbox game, but it's basically tiling the world as you're moving around and then doing lesser and lesser renderings of the shit in the distance so that, once you get out, 10 miles, you're just looking at a giant box with a baked on texture that's like fucking Atari graphics, right? But you don't notice from 1 million miles away. But as it gets closer, the textures will increase and increase and increase. That's what the engine has to do convincingly and very, very quickly so that you perceive it. It doesn't, like you said, as you were approaching things really quickly, the textures load. Here's a theory that I have. I was complaining about this when I first saw the Cyberpunk launch and I saw the first videos. I was like, why are the cars so slow? Even when the cars are going 250 kilometers per hour, they are moving nowhere near as fast as the cars in GTA 5 doing half the speed.
Right.
The perception of speed is so slow. I don't think that was their intention. I think that they had to slow the cars down because even on the most OP fucking rig on planet Earth, they could not load the textures as fast as they were coming into range.
100%.
So that was their solution. They were like, well, we got to ship this shit. What do we do? Do we take out all the fast cars or do we keep the fast cars in, but we just double the speed and reduce the perception? That's what they did. So there's going to be a patch at some point that comes out where all the cars suddenly seem super, super fast once they figure out how to do the texture optimization to load the shit quicker. I guarantee it. I absolutely guarantee it. But I asked that question from day one and it didn't pop into my head till I started seeing like after it released. I was like, why the fuck are these cars so slow? They're going like 200 kilometers an hour and they look like they're barely fucking moving.
Yeah. I had one other funny bug. I was out in
what's going on?
out in the desert or something somewhere.
Who?
And
AuxxZillary, that guy right there.
Wait, what?
Me. What about me?
I already know.
You knew that?
I've known that for a long time.
Why didn't you tell me?
Why would I? Oh, he's holding up a finger. I think. Is he flipping you off? What does he do?
No, it's this finger.
That's so great.
Yeah, you didn't know that? You watch our shows. How do you not know that? We talked about it for like an entire episode.
When?
It did just happen only like yesterday, and I don't think it was on stream because my lady,
Wait, hold on. Okay, I feel dumb now. Wait, you said it happened yesterday? I thought you proposed to her a long time ago.
Gosh,
no.
Oh my goodness.
Wait, you just did that yesterday?
Yeah.
Oh, so this is news to me too. I didn't know.
You had a great Christmas.
I thought
okay Christmas. No, you had a fantastic Christmas.
I thought this whole time
really
you were already
did.
engaged. I thought when you guys moved in together in the house, you were already engaged. I guess I just made that assumption.
Yeah.
Deep in your heart.
I'm keeping my heart religious. They can't live together unless they're married. That's the front of Jesus. Well, congratulations, sir. To my credit, I thought you were engaged like fucking 6 months ago.
Thank you.
I think you told me. Now that I think about it, though, I think you told me you were going to propose. Okay. Well, now I can say it. That's probably why I forgot it. Is because I wasn't supposed to tell anybody.
That's smart.
Obviously, because it's his to tell, right? But I guess in my head I was thinking that he already did it by now. But no, you waited for Christmas. Damn, son.
So romantic.
Yeah.
That is slick.
Nice.
Thank you.
Oh man, you're gonna need a new bed here tomorrow, man. You probably would crack the bed frame in half. Christmas and a proposal. Wow, man, that is a lot to be placing on a woman right there, sir. That is a lot of emotion. Did she absolutely lose her shit, or was she like about time?
A little of both, actually. Yeah.
He said a little of both. Well, thank you for telling me, honey. I completely missed it.
That's why.
Thank you. Wow, no, I genuinely thought that this entire time you were engaged, dude.
Aww.
Like, I don't know why I was thinking that in my head, because now I can remember us having a conversation where you said that you were going to do it.
Yeah.
You just didn't know when, but you were going to do it. I remember you telling me that off stream, but I was like, I figured you already did it. I figured like, shit, you already got a house, you moved in together, but I'm one to talk, right? It's like, I wasn't married when we moved in together.
Yeah. It's cool.
So,
it's cool.
Dude, rock on, man. Look at you putting that shit on lockdown. Well, have as much sex as you can right now because it will slow down, and don't eat the cake. Let her eat the cake. You don't touch that sumbitch. Because you eat that cake, man, just fucking... So when can we expect a little mini AuxxZillary running around?
Oh, nope.
She already came with some of those. You're good with the existing hardware, just like the existing child units.
Yeah, it's good the way it is.
Good for you, bro. It's all right. Miss Liz had enough kids for all of us, so
yeah, right.
We're all set. We each only need like one. She had the rest of them, so we're good. Thank you, Miss Liz. We appreciate you keeping balance in the universe.
Yeah.
Actually, I can see like just knowing Miss Liz as much as I do now. Like her kids are gonna grow up and just be like they're gonna be just wild childs. I can tell. Miss Liz, like, hey, Miss Liz, I've never asked you how many sons and daughters, or what's the ratio? Because and do any of them have red hair? Because that's actually a really important question, and I'll tell you why after you answer. I grew up with a redheaded sister. Oh my god, everything they say is true. Oh my god. No, so I grew up. So my sister's 3 years older than I am, and she's a redhead. 4 sons and 3 daughters. That's a pretty good ratio. That's a good ratio right there. I think you'll be all right. You don't want the daughters outnumbering the sons, man. That is a scary proposition. Holy crap. So I grew up with sisters 3 years older than me, and she's a redhead, and she's my half sister, but I consider her my full sister. She's the only sister I ever had. And I will tell you what, man, everything they say about redheads are true. She was about 90 pounds soaking wet. And she'd kick me in the balls, pull my hair, gouge my eyes, sucker punch me. Like, I mean, she was fucking vicious. Like, imagine Wolverine that's like red, like a red 90 pounds soaking wet redhead. And then imagine, I don't know, what would I be? I guess I'd be like Kingpin. Because even when I was like 12 years old, I was still like 180 or 200 pounds. I was a big boy my whole life. And she would just, she just kicked the shit out of me. Like, no matter what. And I didn't go easy on her either, man. Like, trust me, I was trying to land punches and shit. I couldn't do it.
I'm going to post a link in the chat here. This is a bug that I encountered that I thought was pretty funny.
Miss Liz said, my oldest girl just turned 13. She's more work than 4 boys. Oh, no, I believe it, dude. I absolutely believe it.
My mom always said that she would rather have my brother go through my brother and I than my sister.
Man, my sister was a wild child as a teenager, though. Like, my mom, oh my God, keeping on top of that was crazy. Come to think of it, though, I was actually a pretty easygoing child. Like,
same
growing up. Like, my mom, like, I mean, I got my dad beat the shit out of me when he was drunk all the time, but I never really did anything bad. Like, I was just kind of like the kid that just sat in his room and, like, played on the computer and shit and never bugged anything. My sister running around screaming her head off, I hate you, like, throwing shit and going out and trying to steal the car and stuff. I never did any of that. Okay, what's this bug here? So after about 4 tries, I learned that one does not simply jump through the window in Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Here, let me see if I can get this up on the screen. Hold on.
There's a little bit of spoilers, but you got to get into this transfer station or something. It's like a power box or something you got to turn on. And this exact thing happened to me that's in this video clip.
Okay, here, let me see if I can get this up on the screen here. Stand by. I still haven't switched to just regular stream or regular OBS. I need to do that. That's a priority now.
What's funny is, like, I was about to tell this story, like, there's one extra bug that's clearly a bug that I had found, but I'm glad that this video is here because this exact thing happened to me.
Can you see it on Skype?
Yep.
Okay, here we go. Can you guys hear it? Because I can't hear it.
No.
Oh, here, hold on. Hold on.
So that exact thing. So the door on this building is locked. There's no key. The quest eventually updates and tells you to jump through the window, break the window, and enter. And so, I didn't realize I could do that. So I'm okay. You shoot the window out a little bit. You melee the thing broken a little, and you got to jump in there. And
I'm playing through the speakers. Is there no sound on this clip or?
No, there is.
Oh, why is it not playing through my fucking thing? Hold on. I've got my speaker set up. Okay, so playing out through line MG10XU. Hold on here, because I want to hear this. I want to hear it.
It's the initial, like, the initial break-in stuff is real quiet, but then he shoots a gun a little more and you can hear the gunshots.
Oh, okay, here, give me a second. Then I must
at about the 14-15 second mark, you hear him shooting a gun.
All right, so let's try this again. Let me do the transition. There we go. All right, let's play this. Oh, I hear it now.
So he's like, break. And then exactly, you're like 400 yards away. Boom! Instant.
Wow.
And I just giggled, like, because of course, weird, funny physics issues, right? Like, somehow you're supposed to, like, you're probably supposed to automatically crouch through the window, but something happens and you end up probably standing up inside the frame of the window, and it tries to bump you out. You're supposed to fall out of the window, but you're immediately accelerated, to maximum reverse. And no damage, because it wasn't like fall damage or anything. You just launched, a quarter mile away in a second.
I think that's a really good demonstration of what I was just talking about hacky fixes. Yeah. Because if it was a real physics engine, then basically, like, if you're jumping through the window and you couldn't get through the damn window, you would just get stuck and kind of banged around, and you'd eventually just fall out of the windowsill. That was like something where people were just getting stuck in the window and they couldn't move forward or backwards or something. Instead of fixing the physics engine, they were just like, no, just pinball the fucker out of the window if he gets stuck.
Yeah, I mean, and I imagine that it wasn't. It's not coded for you to launch that quickly. That's again a weird mismatch of expectation of the physics engine, like how your character's body interacts with the world, and something to do with this window, or windows probably in general. I bet you could reproduce this with other windows that are breakable. And it's probably had something to do with the glass not being broken enough. Right.
What I think is I think it was a compounding issue. So I think what happened is in their physics engine, when you're jumping through the window, one, you can't fit through the window. So the mechanism says when you can't fit through something, push you back a little bit so you can have another approach at it, basically. And the glass shards that were blowing all over the place were also hitboxed objects that when you hit those, you're supposed to jump back because you're being like hit and stabbed. Right.
Right.
So, and what happened is it all compounded together where it's like you hit the edge, you hit 5 shards of glass, and it's like compound all of that energy and just put it into you all at once.
Definitely. Yeah. Some interaction of percentages and multipliers.
So the way that they're going to fix a bug like that is, one, they either go into the physics engine and they say you can only be affected by one type of damage at a time. Like basically, if it's whatever the most extreme of the damage you're taking or whatever is the one that physically affects you, which would also kind of screw up gunfights because you want to be affected from multiple projectiles hitting you at once.
Right.
So they're not going to fix it that way. So more than likely, the way they're going to fix this is they're basically just going to do a check every time there's a rebound issue, like where they need to push a player back. They're basically going to check it and see if it exceeds a certain threshold. And if it exceeds a certain threshold, they'll cap it. Yeah. So they'll basically say, like, if all the energy of everything hitting you exceeds 5 or 10 feet, then just cap it at 10 feet. Mm-hmm. And then it'll just punch you with enough power. It'll be silly fixes like that. But then the problem is when they fix something like that, then you'll have a place in the game where it's like they expect the rebound and the compound energy to throw you a long ways, and then it won't. So now in that situation, they have to cancel it out and say, unless it's this situation, or this location on the map, then ignore it and allow all the physics to compound like normal.
Yeah.
So these are incredibly okay. So this is a great topic because it really does expose how hard it is to fix bugs. Like I think people think that like a bug is like just when the bug occurs, just go ahead and stop the code right there and go look at it and be able to figure out exactly what happened. Well, they're kind of right. That's how you debug, right? Mm-hmm. You look at the state of memory, or you use something called iDNA tracing, which is basically you walk backwards in time, frame by frame, and look at the stack traces for all the different threads, because most games are multi-threaded now. You look at it and you try to figure out from the state of all the variables and the equations that are being run, what happened at that exact point. That does not necessarily tell you how to fix the bug, because more often than not, that'll tell you that exactly what was supposed to happen happened. It just wasn't desirable. Meaning that it did what it was supposed to do. Like the physics engine did exactly what it was supposed to do in that situation. And in that case, you have to scratch your head and go, fuck, well, we can't fix that because that's what it was supposed to do, but it's not what we wanted it to do in this specific situation. So then you have to patch that individual little thing. And then if it's a reoccurring theme throughout the game, then you have to patch it in all of the cases where it's reoccurring. And that could be a fucking nightmare. And that's going to lead to code bloat. That eats up more resources and kills performance. Cause it's like, how optimized is a game when you have to do, I guarantee you too, if you looked at the code for Cyberpunk, I bet you that there is probably more than 10 or 20,000 lines of code that run easily every single frame of the game that are just patches. That's it. Every single one of those is just literally one giant fucking switch statement that's like, if you were at these exact coordinates or this exact thing where the physics engine exposes a weird bug in the story, then just go ahead and patch it just for those instances and apply these little patches to those parts of the world. And the problem with that is once you have 10,000 of those, if suddenly you wake up and you're like, wow, I figured out why that's happening in the physics engine. You go fix the physics engine and pull out all those patches. Now 100,000 new bugs show up. So it's actually a lot more difficult to patch a game than, especially a game like this. Open world games are the hardest fucking things to do. And I'll tell you what, they still haven't fixed Skyrim. Oh, After 5 million patches, Skyrim, you can still get NPCs like in a perpetually state of killed. They're not really dead, but they're stuck and they can't wake up. You can still, after all the patching they've done, I've still found ways to wedge NPCs that are critical to quests that block the quests so that you have to start the entire game over. Like, did you ever do that? Did you ever play Skyrim?
Oh, yeah.
So in Skyrim, one of the things that I like to do this in open world games, I did the same thing in GTA 5, is like you try to intentionally do shit you're not allowed to do, right? So like in GTA, like the first thing I tried to do in Skyrim is I'm like, how do I kill kids? I know it's terrible, but I'm like, I just want to see if you could do it, right? And in the first game, you could take the children or whatever to the fucking Brotherhood or whatever and let them sacrifice the children. And then they were like, oops, okay, that hindsight. And then they patched it so you couldn't do that to the kids anymore. But then you could still do it to the women and adults. But then you couldn't directly target children. But what you could do is you could set off an explosion near a child and it would kill them. So then they had to patch that, I think, where it didn't kill the child. It just like throws the child clear. So it's just this endless set of patching to prevent you from doing these like wildly things that they didn't test because they didn't think they'd be a problem. Like they didn't think that the first thing people were going to do playing the game is go try to murder all the children in a town. Like that's probably not the customer base they were targeting. But it does happen, and they do have to account for it. Also, another thing that like GTA 5 is actually a good example of this too, is any character that you can't kill in the game, you can kill. You just have to create an obstruction or explosion. Like for instance, one of my favorite things to do is find creative ways to kill the person leaving a mission. Because you're not allowed to target them with a gun. You can lob a rocket at them, but unless you can get it really close and explode, it's not going to kill them. So I do stuff like, was it one of the scenes Michael's leaving Franklin, they rob a bank or whatever, Michael gets in the car and leaves. So what you do is right before you do the job, you park a car right in front of his getaway car. And he basically, when he's driving away, like before the cutscene stops so you can shoot, the car drives into it and it just sits there and spins its tires. And Michael doesn't go anywhere. It just goes back and forth like this. And then the cutscene ends and then you just go over and shoot Michael through the window and kill him.
There you go.
And then you actually kill Michael, but he comes back because the next scene, you can't kill him permanently. The problem with Skyrim is there was a fundamental flaw in the architecture of the game. I don't know if they fixed it yet because I haven't played it in years. but there was an architectural flaw, which is you cannot kill NPCs that are critical to the storyline.
Sure.
So all you can do is knock them out. You basically knock them out, and then a couple minutes later they wake back up, right?
Right.
And then you continue the story. Well, there was a bug in the game where and people found these, and I even found them myself, where what you do is you lead the character to a place on the map where there's something that can confine them, like a table or like a roof or objects, or there's something there that you can get them pinned with. And then what you do is you basically kill them, and you just sit there and hack on the body until you get them wedged underneath it. And then once you get them wedged underneath it, they basically just perpetually wake up every couple of minutes, then they knock out again. And they wake up a couple of minutes, they knock out again, and they're perpetually dead, and you can't get them unstuck from the situation. Once they're stuck, and they can never wake up, so you can never do another mission with them, therefore you can't finish the game.
Yep.
And I did that. I actually went to like 3 or 4 towns and got the game so fucking hosered up that I couldn't even play it anymore. Like there was no more content for me to play because all the people that I needed to do the quest with were perpetually dead, more or less.
Aww.
And then I was upset with myself because I was like, why the fuck didn't I create a saved game before I started doing this shit? Because I had to start over, and then I lost interest and didn't want to do it anymore. So I never finished the game. So, yeah, I mean, I was my own enemy there.
Yeah. All right, we got to wrap it up.
Oh, wait, are we getting close? Oh, we're over time. Damn, I didn't notice that. Let's see. Sorry about that, bro.
No, that's fine.
What else?
No,
what else do we do? Well, we'll get the rest of the topics next time. I think we covered most. So you guys know how I broke my foot. Our 2021 predictions, I think, are pretty clear. So you think Cyberpunk's going to get worked out, and it'll eventually be a magnum opus. And I think
100%.
And I think that I will agree with you if they fix it and they give us back the content that was taken out for free. They can still have DLC. I don't care. That's fine. But if they give us that for free and then the DLC is separate, then I will say that they did the absolute most amazing job, and I will trust them into the future.
And
but if they try
to
sell us the content and they don't fix the game where all these bugs are still existing, and they basically just like try to fight all these lawsuits and keep pumping out the crap and trying to sell the last gen console one again, then fuck them. I'm done with them. Like
I feel like 2021 will be a bunch of patches, a bunch of content updates, a bunch of free stuff. Probably the first year, and after that will probably be when they start to do paid DLC.
Okay, so we'll give them a year.
Yeah,
a year from New Year's, or a year from today. Day
let's
after
say
Christmas.
New Year's. Just make it a nice even 12 months.
So there you go, guys. On Tech Talk, remind us because we'll forget. 1 year from New Year's, we're going to reevaluate Cyberpunk 2077 and compare it to its release to whatever state it's at that point in time. And if it is a magnum opus and the world thinks that it is a proper successor to GTA 5, even though everybody's like, don't compare it to GTA 5. It's fucking GTA 5 with a cooler story, okay? In the future.
I definitely get that sort of feel from it. It's still super clunky, though. It is definitely clunky. If you haven't bought it, I would wait a few months or deal with the clunkiness. Like, it's fine.
Yep.
So
let me read off the rest of these super chats too, because we want to
sure.
make sure that these people get recognition, because my God, you guys are keeping us alive and I appreciate it. Kenneth D, thank you for the $4.99, said, hope you all had a great Xmas. Still cleaning the bomb that exploded in my living room. Oh, I read that one earlier, but I didn't read this part. He said, didn't get my 6800 XT, lol, but I did get Cyberpunk and a new 2 terabyte hard drive. Rock on, dude. Yeah, everybody's struggling to find CPUs, GPUs, consoles. Like this is the worst year by far for scalpers.
Wait till March.
Yeah,
at least.
Actually, here's this theory might not be super founded, but really quickly, I think you're going to see stocks starting to come back in the store in the way of returns from customers, like people that were unable to get their price on eBay and they just want to fuss with selling it at cost to recoup their money if they can just take it back to the store. So keep an eye out in early January, the first 2-3 weeks of January. Just start going and visiting the big box stores and see if stuff just starts showing up back on the shelf. Because a lot of people will just return the stuff because they just don't want to, if they can't sell it at a huge profit, they don't want to deal with the logistics of selling it on eBay and then having a buyer be pissed off about it and having to swap it out and all that, when they can just take it back to the store and just get their money back.
Yep.
So keep an eye out for that. That does happen. And I think with the amount of scalping that's going on right now, I think there's a high likelihood that there's going to be a huge surplus that comes back in. I don't think it's going to lower the price on anything though, because there's still such a high demand. But that, I'd say go to the stores though. Don't look at online. Don't look at like Newegg's chart. Like literally go to a big box store like Best Buy or Fry's or something like that, or what's the other one, Micro Center. Just go there and just loiter every once in a while. Go there and loiter and just see they'll just bring the stuff out and put it on the shelves because they know it'll just disappear.
Or sign up for EVGA's queue.
There you go. That's a good idea.
They send you an email with like a special link or code or something. You have 8 hours to redeem your place in line to buy it, and it's as far as I can tell from what I've heard and seen, it's guaranteed. If you get the email and you jump on it within 8 hours, you have a whole work day. I've heard nothing but good things.
All right, let's see here.
Yeah.
Nigel Watton, thank you for the 5 pound ruse. Said Merry Christmas, Jerry in Houston. Hope you had a good Xmas so far, except for Jerry's foot. Yeah, other than breaking my toe, I'm golden, man. Like I'm just eating painkillers like Pez, and it's wrapped up. I mean, here I'll let you guys see my club foot one more time before I go. So it's just a broke pinky though. Nobody uses their pinky. It just makes walking like extra hard now.
You're a little off kilter.
Yeah,
there.
it took me a while to get upstairs. Let's just say that. But I had to have my wife carry some stuff up because there's no way I was carrying a cup of coffee and getting myself up the stairs. So, Dr. Essex, thank you for the 10 Canadian dollar ruse. He said, "Cheers to you guys. Please plug the Salvation Army for their efforts this year and next." I should say Salvation, not Salivation. Why did I read that as Salivation? Oh, because he spelled it Salivation. Is it Salvation? It's Salvation Army, right?
Salivation.
Salivation. My eyes are fucking deceiving me. I respect their work in the community. Also, I love Purple Santa. Ooh. But what about Leopard Santa, huh? Oh, we still got to do the thumbnail too. We'll do that after we address this. We always got to do the thumbnail. We got to both have our hats on to do it. Let's see. Is that's pretty good. All right. And let's see, Dr. Essex, thank you so much. And yeah, of course, Salvation, not just the Salvation Army, but if you guys, pet shelters, soup kitchens, what do they call them? God damn it. I had to use them growing up my whole life, where you go get food banks, derp. If you can donate to food banks, all those things, like right now, we're in a situation where a lot of people aren't able to eat and they're not allowed to afford things. So if you guys could help some of them out, we would really, truly appreciate it. We're lucky enough to have, what we have and have our roofs over our head and have our food in our belly and be able to do our thing. And we still got to survive and pay our bills. But if you guys can spread the love a little bit further beyond us and help out some other people that are truly in need and need it, it feels good, because nothing feels better than giving $1 to somebody who can turn that into a meal and change their life versus giving $10,000 to somebody who couldn't give 2 shits. Yeah. So definitely spread it around. It feels good. It genuinely does feel good. Nick, thank you for the $5. He said, not sure if anybody said it, but congrats, Aux, on the engagement. Okay, that was early. So that must have been why Miss Barnacules ran up here.
Yeah.
So our little boy AuxxZillary, he is that's why his beard is gray. It's one day after proposing, he turned completely gray. That's normal. I mean, it happens, bro. Like, it's like you can't really see with the camera, but I got a lot of gray maroon up there and joined the club. By the way, that's coloring that he has there. He's not gray. He's way too young. Yeah. He's a youngster. And to the rest of you, thank you so much for hanging out with us today. We had an amazing tech talk. I'm glad that AuxxZillary could join me today. David will probably be back with us next week. He just had some shit that he had to do today. But he absolutely enjoys doing this, and we love having him. And honestly, I look forward to this more than anything else that I do. Like this is my favorite thing to do at the week, is just hang out with my bros and just talk about stuff. And it's, oh God, this is fun. I love doing this. This is what makes Tech Talk great right here. It's just hanging out and having a good time. If we didn't have a good time, we wouldn't even do it, guys. All right. Yep. I got to put my hat back on real quick. I don't know why I took that off, and then we're going to do a thumbnail.
Yep. So
you guys can all see us. This is how you do the prop. We do the thumbnail after the video. That's why it's clickbait with David. And then next week it'll be this without David, even though David will be on the show. Just roll with it. All right. Let me get my little snippet ready. All right. Get on. Oh, hold on. I got to turn off transition mode here. Okay. Get on up there and got it. There we go. Let me pull it into the clipboard. Oh, that's beautiful. All right, you guys have been amazing. We went an extra almost half an hour today. Just cuz. Yeah. But we try to keep it about 3 hours. Otherwise, I will just run on forever and ever. Last quick thing. Check the video description before you leave. Only after you've pushed the like and subscribe button, okay? Yeah. You guys have to push that like and subscribe button.
Yeah.
And then check the video description to find links to our Twitch channels. We both respectively have our Twitch streams that we run throughout the week. I will be back on Monday on my channel. And when do you stream next?
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8:30 Pacific time.
Dude, that actually works perfect. I stream Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and you stream Tuesday and Thursday. That's perfect. We got your whole week covered over on Twitch, but check the video description. Also, we have all the links for David. Even though he didn't join us today, we consider him a permanent co-host of the show. All of his information's on there, so check him out. That's the real Iron Ham, and then his son is Iron Ham TV, I believe.
I think so.
Something like that. But yeah, check the video description. He does something called Tech Bandits, which is really, really freaking cool and well worth a watch. And also, if you're a Stargate nerd like we are, oh my God, it's just endless amounts of fun. And on that note, we will see you guys next week, Saturday, same bat time, same bat place, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Saturday. And you guys all have a good one and a happy